Hey listeners, this is a special episode for me. Kevin Lee Royes, or Kevin Bakota as I always knew him, is a legendary product designer in snowboarding that I've been looking to connect with for years. I'm so excited to bring you this week's episode. Could you please join our Patreon by following the link in our Instagram bio or by looking up FNRad on Patreon? It really helps me follow my passion and bring you episodes like this one. The FNRad Snowboard Podcast is presented by Skyview Campers, Never Summer's innovative take on the tiny home. Designed and built in beautiful Colorado, check out skyviewcampers.com. Wired Snowboards builds quality snowboards by hand 10 minutes away from my house. Visit wiredsnowboards.com and order one today. Fixed bindings are easy to adjust, long-lasting, high-performance bindings built to have less impact on the environment. Check out fixedbindingco.com. Rip Curl outerwear, strength, durability, and performance. Designed to search further in the snow, head to ripcurl.com and check out the Anti-Series jacket. I can't wait to rock this thing. New Greens, 100% organic, vibrant green juice. Buy yourself some at newgreens.com and use code FNRad at checkout for 20% off. And for a chance to try New Greens for free, listen to the end of the show. The Boardroom Snowboard Shop, best selection, best prices, Vancouver's premier snowboard shop. Go to boardroomshop.com and use code FNRAD10 to save 10% off your next purchase. Support also comes from Mount Seymour, Grouse Mountain, Cypress Mountain, the Pro Standard GoPro accessories, and our friends at 1910. You can use code FNRAD at checkout for 20% off at 1910.com. The Haven's a center for transformational learning located on beautiful Gabriola Island. Plan a visit at haven.ca and use code FNRAD at checkout to save 10% off their Come Alive program. Kevin Lee Royes started snowboarding in 1982. He was friends with the Kemper brothers, who would start Kemper snowboards in the early 80s. Kevin got hooked on snowboarding and quickly started innovating, starting Bakota design logic with his idea for locking leashes. By the time he sold Bakota to Northwave and Drake in 1998, for his asking price, by the way, Kevin had signed Devin Walsh, JP, Jeremy, Sansalone, and a couple other top-tier pro snowboarders to ride for Bakota. Plus, he had a catalog of clever tools and accessories that is yet to be replicated by any snowboard accessory company. Kevin's a super interesting inventor, entrepreneur, and snowboarder. I'm so glad he agreed to sit down with me in his RV for this episode.
Yeah, born Toronto General Hospital, 1966. Raised, spent my first 14 years like Jane and Finch area. So like a lot of that area was under construction when we were growing up, and we would play in the construction sites.
Jane and Finch is famous in Toronto as like...
Is it still?
I don't know now, but when I was a kid, or when I was in my 20s, like that was like, it was like a pretty notorious spot, right?
Yeah, man. Like, so my brothers were 4 or 5 years older than me, so they were in that age group, and yeah, my middle brother, when crack first, like my middle brother, like was lost in that lifestyle, and I was definitely going in that direction. I was 14 and it was graduation night at grade 9, and that day I beat up a kid, and it was in the police precinct, like under arrest for that. My family, the police knew our family by name.
Fuck.
And I wasn't the worst though of them, but I'm saying I was going in that direction.
Yeah.
And I remember the cops saying to my mom, it's like, "Oh, you're moving to Edmonton? Okay, we'll let him go so he can be some other city's problem."
Fuck, dude. Are you serious?
Yeah, and then we moved like 2 weeks later. And the worst thing I did there was I shot a kid out of a window after school. with a Pelican. So right around that same time, and that's my mom. There's three of us. I'm the youngest boy, and my mom could only take me, and she had a job in Edmonton, and man, she got me out because I'm a good guy, but I was doing stuff, and my brothers were in jail and in group homes. I was in a foster home in grade 5. I was taken away
from your mom.
Yeah.
Like, so you had a loving mom family.
No,
that you
just
could,
my mom.
Right.
Like, yeah, we grew up. My dad, half Jamaican, half British.
Yep.
And yeah, you know, I was a troubled kid, man, and so I was sent away to a farm. And they had us like slaves, like not all black kids, just all like, and there was like 7 or 8 girls, 7 or 8 like boys, and we had to milk cows. They were a dairy farm.
That's fucked up.
Throw bales of hay and shit.
Wow, man.
And I was the only black. I know I was the only black kid in that school, St. Thomas Aquinas.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I won the spelling bee.
Nice, dude. That's sick.
With the word honest. They tried to trick me with a silent H.
That's sick, dude. That's so sick. Yeah. I mean, to me, you were enthusiasm incarnate.
Like naive. Like when I look back, though, I was naive enthusiasm.
No way, dude. No way. Like, I think you play down the importance of what you were doing at that time, because there were a lot of people in the space that were pioneering, right? Like, you're pioneering.
Whoa.
And
so
yeah,
on the pioneering front, we talked about it earlier, like Neil Wilson with Off the Wall, I think was the third snowboard shop in all of Canada. I think the snowboard shop was first. In my sense, is Hogtown second, and then Neil. Neil's always been a visionary and seen things coming early. He might have been 16. And maybe him and his friends started, but Neil was the passion of that shop. And that shop, when the Can-Ams got going, what an influence on snowboarding.
Yeah.
And I love, the one weekend at Swain. One weekend. We rode Kissing Bridge was our place, though. I don't know why we didn't get Kissing Bridge for the first couple. But, okay, so on the pioneering side, I feel like so many of us, I started Bakota, but who else, man? Like Mike Bass started Homeless.
Yeah.
I think you had Staple come out at that time, Limited come out, Orgy come out. Like, to me, it boggles my mind. We were fucking kids, man.
Kids.
20 years old, man.
Do you remember Safe Clothing?
Yeah, Gerard and Raphael.
They did a trip to Sudbury, man, with Lori Glazier and Joe McAdoo. And for us in the Sudbury scene, that was a huge deal, dude. Like, these outside pros were coming to our little local spot. Gerard was filming it. He was making films at the time. It was so sick, dude. That scene was, it was like a microcosm of the world scene.
Ontario, it blows me away what came out of Ontario.
Yeah.
Southern Ontario. And then, I mean, where did we get to ride? We had to go, we were Talisman. It was only Talisman or Kissing Bridge. We lived in Hamilton, me, Neil, Vento, there's a group of us, and that was it. Like, when we were so close to Kissing Bridge, we'd go night riding.
Is it in the United States?
Yeah, upstate New York.
It's in New York.
And you could cross with your library card. Like, you could be asleep in the car. I swear to God, if you're asleep coming back, 2 people asleep in the back seat, immigration would go, IDs, don't wake them. It's okay.
So loose.
so loose.
That's amazing.
You know?
Yeah, so the Can-Ams, let's talk about those, because they were influential to the scene there. I mean, I remember seeing Brian Langhorst, Dave Craig.
The story of the Can-Ams, I'm going to say personally, for me, goes back to the Kempers.
Okay. I can't even believe that I'm talking to someone who knows the Kempers. That's incredible.
Dave, yeah, Mark, I went to Arundel and Mark Kemper was in my class, in my marketing class. I remember because that was the year when Coke tried that new Coke.
New Coke.
Shit.
What a nightmare.
And Pepsi's best ad was, they just blinked. Like they have in the steering contest. But
yeah, dude, that's epic.
yeah, so Mark, and I remember Mark had like a scooter. And so I have a scooter now, man,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
I like still, like, I'm a kid from those days. I had the Honda Aero 80 and I had one, and yeah, okay, so quickly, my first introduction to snowboarding was through BMX magazine. Then I moved to Mississauga. The first time I saw a snowboard was the Burton Performer. I read the wood one.
Yep.
Lee Wallace had one. And I'm like, this guy's the coolest fucking guy in the world, man, because I've only seen the ads. And the ads alone, I don't understand it. It doesn't happen to everyone. You see something and you're like, beach volleyball, you
Right,
know,
sure.
kite surfing, But when I saw snowboarding, it was like, oh, fuck, I want to do that. And then Lee had a board. And now I'm a Jane and Finch kid. I was a class clown. I was failing school up until I went to junior achievement. That was my turnaround, junior achievement. And then I started making the honor roll. I was an entrepreneur because I started, and I was a builder. Right away I'd want to build it, but I didn't know what I was doing. And I saw that board, and I don't know, Lee, I don't know the whole story, I'm sorry, but I was like, and after Lee and I became friends, I'm like, and I don't fucking know how to use wood or what. I'm like, somehow we can build this. It looks like it's plywood, glue. How do we bend it? I don't know, steam. Let's steam it. And we steam these sheets, and then the fucking house smelled like contact cement. And we'd be up all night, and then we'd get it together, and then we would cut out a shape. Fuck, I love these days. And sometimes we try and paint them before the sun came up, and then we'd get in our car, and we'd have two of them, and we would drive up towards Barrie to the first like hills that we could find. And then we would get out, and we just used rubber, like, for bindings. Like,
Yeah.
we didn't even think about
The heel.
We got there
yeah.
with a belt. We used to cut our belts, and then, like, okay, now this was before high backs, man. Like,
Yeah.
and we went to the store to buy angle iron
For fins?
aluminum to cut
Yeah.
to make fins.
Unbelievable.
And then we tried to make bindings. We bought plexiglass and tried to cut that shit, but it burnt, it melted in the jigsaw.
Yeah.
But we bent it. So I was 16. I can't explain it, bro. I cannot explain.
So 16, that's
why.
1982.
And that's when
Yeah.
I'm in school with
Yeah.
Mark Kemper. And that's when Dave Kemper is also making boards in his basement. And so as the season went on, like, we'd meet at nights at the Mississauga golf course.
Nice.
And I mean, and Kemper's boards, if I remember, his first boards were fucking slick.
They're
The
slick.
graphics were exactly like the Burton Performer, same color, but instead of Burton, it said Kemper.
Yeah. Yeah. They were, I mean,
And-
those are highly collectible boards.
Does he still,
highly
like,
collectible.
so there's some of those still out there?
Oh, like, so few. But, like,
That's got to be 82,
Yep.
83.
yeah.
And so Kemper, I think he had a better way to make boards. Like, so I actually we made a company called Snowline. And
Snowline.
My brother,
Epic,
the Mount
epic.
140, the Mount 150. My brother's painting the graphics on them, and Kemper was making boards though.
Yeah.
We were trying to make a mold, and I think that's around the time he went to meet with Jamie
Yeah.
and Lance,
Yeah.
and that fucking then he comes out with a ski.
That was insane, right? That was
I'm
so
like, what
early.
just happened here?
Yeah, that was so early.
Yeah.
So you witnessed the plywood to ski construction year,
Yes.
and what happens? It's got to blow your mind. You just,
No, because I was riding a barfoot, and I fucking love that board, man.
Oh, wow.
The flex in that board.
yeah. Where did
Uh,
that come from?
That was where did that come from? Ken Achenbach in the snowboard shop.
Nice.
Because me and Lee Wallace, we couldn't make boards, but maybe we could sell them. And okay, my memory's a little fuzzy here.
Sure.
But I'm pretty sure, like, we ordered 6 boards, or 4 or 6 boards, and sent the money to the snowboard shop, because in the magazine, that's the only place you could buy snowboards. And weeks and weeks and weeks went by, and we're kids, man. We don't know how to, like, play lawyer talk shit, you know? But finally, Lee's dad got involved and got on the phone and went lawyer on them. And you know what I wanted, though? And I'm embarrassed to say this. Fucking in that at the first time when we got the 6 boards, the one because we wanted to sell them, the one I wanted was a hooger booger.
I love it.
Fuck it.
Yeah.
But so when all the dust settled, I had a barfoot with that claw and
Claws of law.
I got the neon orange.
Yep.
And
sick.
Man, I could, like, my nose and tail rides all the way down the mountain. Yeah.
So this is pre-lifts anywhere. You're not riding any lifts on those things
this is
yet.
pre-lifts. Yeah. So, man, good questions. And so we'll get back to the Can-Ams and how Kemper, because it had to do with a story Mark Kemper told me about dirt biking. But
wow.
This was pre-lift, so the only place we could ride was in Quebec. So we'd make trips to Mount Tremblant, which fully could let us ride. But our first time, Morin Heights, is on the way up to Tremblant. And we just saw a fucking ski hill right off the road, like that big. So me, Neil, Chetty, I forget who was in that crew, but I'm telling you, Neil's OG, man. We said, let's snowboard here. And we get there, and they're like, what is that? You know? Sorry. But yeah, they're like, you can't ride that here, but there's if you do, you have to pass a test. Now, we only have wood boards with metal fins, man, and this is hard pack, and we've never ridden in hard pack because we've just been trying to find powder on hills.
Yeah.
They're like, climb up to that tree and then and ride down, and that'll be your test. Fucking me and Chetty, as soon as we went straight, our board just pinned straight. I couldn't turn it. I ended up going ass over tea kettle. Fail. Chetty, fail. And they're like, okay, you can rent skis and you can keep going. I'm like, fuck that, man. Chetty and I sat and drank like Baileys and coffee. Yeah. But after that, it was Tremblant, which still was ice.
Yeah.
Man, I don't remember when Ontario started to open up.
But
I bet you Talisman was one of the first.
So you guys rode chairlifts with fins. Like, what was going on? Like, were you able to get down the hill, or was it just a nightmare?
It was a nightmare.
Yeah.
So you're always, like, and plus also, too, the corduroy, like, no. And that's why I think in those days, Ontario snowboarders, if you're from the East, man, like, that's the shit. You had to land that. This isn't like butt check. Like, you know what a butt check would do to you?
Yes.
You know, your head snapping back, like, fuck. No, you had to land your shit. So much respect. And I, man. So just the Can-Amps, how they started.
Yeah.
Mark would tell me about him. He was a motocross racer.
Mark Kemper.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he told me about an event, that there was a Can-Am event that we found there. And Neil and I were roommates in those days, like later, and we were just out drinking one night. He had 2 stores, one in Hamilton and the original in Oakville. And anyway, man, I don't know if Neil will agree with this, man, but it was over those drinks that conversation came up. And I'm like, oh, the Can-Ams. And then after that, I mean, I don't know now, but who came through the Can-Ams?
DeCoker, you mentioned DeCoker. There was
DeCoker.
Who was the Morrow rider that he just dominated the year that I was there?
Trevor came through, like
yeah.
Trevor. Kale, Kevin.
Kevin was the year that I was there. Darren Robinson's who I'm thinking
of.
He was ripping.
Yeah. Jimmy
Corvese, yeah, like
Craig Dave Wright.
Yeah.
You know, rest in peace, Jimmy, and Vince Jorgensen.
Vince too, yeah.
Because a lot of them, see, this is the thing. Once you come out west, once you realize that you can land and you don't have to always stick it.
Yeah. Yeah.
You don't want to go back.
You couldn't go back.
You couldn't go back.
Yeah.
But the skills you learned from there, then you're slaying it.
I think also there's a hunger, right? Because you're adventuring. You're going out there. You're finding spots to do this, and then you get here and you're like, oh, I could do this forever. I don't have to go anywhere else. This is like.
And even when they close the lifts, I can keep.
Oh, totally.
I can keep going.
Yeah. Oh my God, 100%. And people that come out from Ontario, at first, I remember this in the 90s, being like, "Did you see that? Did you see that?" Like they were so excited about things that now would not be that big of a deal, but
Yeah.
they were so huge in comparison. Everything was big.
Yeah. How long if you were to point it down the hill from Talisman? And when I got to Whistler the first time, Ricardo, do you remember Ricardo? So he started Staple. I think he went on to.
Oh wow!
Well, he was part of Limited when
Yep.
Limited got started,
Yeah,
and I
yeah.
think there was a split there.
And
I-
that was what started Staple, because Limited
Yeah.
was
and Perry
Gladstone.
and Ricardo.
Oh, okay. So
Yeah.
I must have met him for sure.
Yeah, and then he went on to work for the shoe line. I think that Burton did.
Gravis, yeah.
Yeah. But the Can-Ams, yeah. But no, because when a lot of us came west and tried it, and with our center stances and like, drilled out.
Wide, cut down noses.
Cut
You're describing me exactly. I moved out here, cut down boards.
That was a day when you could buy like the T-bolts, like as a.
Yep.
I don't know why I never did T-bolts.
Because they ruined boards.
Yeah, maybe that was it.
Well, by the time you're going with real deal stuff, did you do hardware? You did hardware kits, didn't you?
Maybe near the end.
Yeah.
With Northwave, but
Okay.
But it all started after I tried to make boards and stuff. Now I'm living with Neil. What a fucking crazy house that was, man. 5 of us in there. Holes in the stairs. And the game we would play, because we'd be out every weekend, 3 a.m. you come in, you take your shoes off before you turn on the lights. Because the game is turn on the light and how many cockroaches can you get?
Unbelievable.
We were dirty fucking.
Yeah. That's gnarly.
And
awesome.
probably the first, I literally killed a rat in our kitchen.
Oh, wow.
When UB40 had the song. So my first idea definitely came, we were snowboarding Kissing Bridge one night. And again, I'm not an inventor, so I'm not entrepreneurial or whatever. That's why I wonder how much shit is genetic. But I wanted some hot chocolate. It's cold and icy. And I put my board up. And I don't know if someone said something about, oh, watch out, get your board stolen or something. I don't know. But I just, in my head, I just imagined someone walking by and just keep walking like they didn't even stop. But now their board's under their arm. My board's under their arm. So I'm like, I'm just going to clip my leash. The little webbing leash you get. Which, I got to say, fuck the leash, man. Fuck that. We were forced.
We were mad about the leashes.
We all
for
were.
a very long time.
And you know what? I made a shoelace leash one time to just be like, this is all you really need.
This is it.
But
I remember the little shoelace leashes.
Yeah.
That you would just clip on your boot. You would come in and you were blowing our mind with that shit. Sorry, we're getting ahead of ourselves here, but
that was the day. That was it. That was literally the click. And in my head, I'm like, you try and walk away with this, it's gonna jerk out of your arm.
Yeah.
That's it. I won the game. You're not gonna steal my board.
Yeah.
That was a locking leash.
Yeah.
So, and then I went to my brother Mark, and fucking guy, he's from the hood, man. And I'm telling him my idea and showing him, and he went and made one. And you know what he did? He went and he cut a seatbelt out of a car because we didn't know where to get webbing.
That's so dope. That's amazing.
We didn't know about Fabricland, you know?
Yeah. That's a quote. We didn't know about Fabricland. Yeah. That's pretty badass. They got in their car.
That's how we made.
There's no more seatbelt.
And actually, oh my God, this is fucking great. I remember this. The Can-Am, it's the U.S. first. It was actually America.
Yeah.
It was the us can, the Am Can or something.
Am Can.
But it was America. But I remember taking my first leashes down there, and they were out of these like stolen seatbelts. Then he did discover Fabricland and bought Lycra, neon orange, and you remember the chartreuse and the pink, and sewed them around. And we had oh shit, man! Before Bakota, I showed up down there to give away. Imagine this big band of neon pink around your pant leg, and the branding that I had at the time said Puppy B. And I made stickers.
Puppy B.
The puppy be good, the puppy be bad, or the puppy just be.
I love it. Oh my God, that's amazing.
Now I think about it, and then we changed to Bakota, and that's like a prototype name. You know, when you're a prototype. And
yeah, dude. How did you come up with Bakota? Where did it come from?
My recollection. So at that point, you know, I said the fire of any venture usually burns in one heart, and so I have two older brothers. My middle brother Mark was the guy I went to, and we started making shit. My older brother, I just have this, and actually there's a picture on my fridge where he lived. I just had this memory of him coming down the stairs with a book, saying, "You know, there's a tribe in Africa named the Bakota tribe."
No way. No way.
And it sounded so good.
It does. It's so
man,
dope.
we made up our own legend too of the Bakota warrior. And like, you couldn't fucking defeat a Bakota warrior, kick your fucking ass. But a Bakota warrior could never be offensive. Only defensive.
Oh, wow.
And I still believe that to this day,
That's
man.
some Bruce Lee thing there.
That means you just hold your line. All's good, but you come near me and I'll defend the fuck out of you.
Yep.
And we had that on our first hang tags, and we would tie like a hemp string around every leash with that on there.
I love that.
Yeah.
Somebody's got to find these. We need to find an intact Bakota first gen
That was made
leash.
in Santa Barbara. Not the locking leash. Our big breakthrough was the coil leash.
The coil leash.
So we did 4 leashes when we came out.
Yep.
We did the locking was expensive.
Yep.
Coil leash, straight leash, and then the webbing leash.
Yep.
Because the basic. But the coil leash was what made Bakota.
Yeah.
That's what brought Jake Burton to our booth at the ASR.
Wow.
In our second year. Yeah.
Second year ASR. Jake Burton's at the booth. What's he say?
He was, he would peruse the show. Or this is still early, but you know what? I gotta admit, I was not at the booth at the time. I was told later.
No way. Yeah. So you guys were...
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
This is our first year in business.
Yeah.
This is our first year. Our first ASR we did in New Jersey.
There was an ASR in New Jersey.
Atlantic City.
Yeah.
And then the West Coast one.
Yeah.
And, oh, God, I don't know if you want to hear the story of how...
Let's hear it.
I had to get into America to start Bakota. I was bounced off the border 4 times. The first time with guns. The third time we should have taken our car. So Bakota, our first year of manufacturing was in Santa Barbara. But to get from Jane and Finch to Santa Barbara was a fucking ordeal. And along the way, there was the ASR show, and then Jake that saw the coil leash. And after our first year in business, we were terrible at business. February, March, I come back home, and I just get a job. That's right, this had to be in the first year, because I just got a job at Kimberly-Clark in the mailroom. And I was stoked. I was wearing button-up fucking shirts. I got to comb out my afro. I got paid every 2 weeks.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous, man. As an entrepreneur, that's a ridiculous fucking concept, getting paid regularly. And I come home after work one night, and the phone rings, and it's Burton. Not Jake, but the company.
Yeah.
And they want to order 5,000 coil leashes.
Yes.
You know what? If there's like we did well, like we got through the season, like fucking rode Tahoe, down a ski ranch.
Sick.
Again, sold to all those shops, Jose, like SMP. Every single shop carried Bakota. I would drive up to San Francisco, hit every shop, and then like Sacramento and Tahoe, out of Santa Barbara. And after the year, though, we had no money, and I didn't know how I was even going to get home. I actually had to take a job painting a motel, and the owner was part of a cult, but it sounded, I didn't know, he didn't describe, he didn't say, hey, I'm part of a cult. He just said, hey, doing some stuff this weekend. You want to join? And then we're sitting there chanting, like, then when I got home on 2020 was a thing at top 10 most dangerous cults in America. That one was number 3.
Whoa.
I got out of there just in time on that one.
Whoa.
Plus, oh shit, man, there's too many stories here. These guys were coke dealers. We thought they made surf leashes. That's why we sent them our money. We get there, their coke dealer surfers had 2 Mexicans working out of the garage. Every now and then they made surf leashes. I thought we sent deposits to them to make our leashes. Me and my brother show up after I got bounced off the border 4 times. I finally make it there. And that's what we find out. There's 8 people living in this house. One guy's bed is on the pool table. The other one's under the pool table. One guy's on the couch. These guys were at a level they'd go meet the airplane that dropped by. Like, I didn't know.
Wow.
Like, I'm like, okay, we still got to get our leashes made, man. Like, that was year 1. And that was the year 2 when Burton came out with that. We got the patent on the snowboard thing.
Oh, wow. That was a bad year
and
for
I
them.
think Sims, I knew Barfoot a little bit.
Yeah.
Never
Yeah.
met Tom, but like I've met Chuck. You'd always fucking see Chuck's van at the side of the highway when you're going back. He's always surfing
That's
instead
so
of
sick.
working.
That's so sick. I love that.
But that was the first year of Bakota out of that house. But when you say I went into shops, I drove up all down Southern Cal.
That's amazing.
Oh, what are the stores, man? Fucking Green, like all the OG stores. Like I forget.
Wave Rave and stuff was.
Oh, Wave Rave. Ah, man. Wave Rave owned Frantic's leashes, by the way.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, Brett Conrad took that over.
So yeah, and
then we made Frantic leashes.
Oh, that's amazing.
We
That's
made
amazing.
Burton leashes, Frantic leashes, Ride, Morrow. I had a factory, bro. When I was 25, I had 30 employees. Like, we were making shit for everybody.
Making leashes.
Well, at whole programs. So at that time, we were doing screwdriver stump pads, and then also we made our own displays.
Oh, you just opened up a whole other can of worms, because that was what did it for Bakota, was those displays.
Yeah,
how could you? Because we would order a couple of tools, right? We'd order, give us 5 of these, 10 of these, whatever. But then when the displays came out, it was like, well, it came as a complete. It needed to be full, or it looked stupid, man. Like once you were out of a thing, it was like, we need to get more of those things.
You know where I got that from? Keep It Full was Graham at up at Whistler. What was the big
Showcase?
Showcase.
Yeah.
That guy, man, he made power walls.
Power walls.
We made our first power display for him.
Yeah.
It was like, all right, I want the power, but not on the wall.
Right.
I also wanted people to be able to interact with the product.
Totally.
So I had ones that had retractable.
I forgot all about that. That's insane. You made these displays.
We actually made them. There's a picture right there on the fridge of my brother sanding one.
That's so sick.
Yeah, man.
God, it was so DIY, but now the companies you're talking about working with, you're successful. Like those are the big companies in snowboarding, right? You're making stuff
West
for
Beach. We did a whole program for West Beach, like 8 and a display. like Ride also had Slim, so we did a Ride program, a Slim program. Burton, we did oh my God, I gotta tell you, man, making Burton coil leashes. So we bought this machine that just stamped shit because we made a lot of the small stomp pads.
Yeah.
So we got our own. I don't know how I figured this shit out. We just like at first we would put it on adhesive and fucking like a steel reel die around the stomp pad and like just hammer them out. Then like I got a machine though that and then we could just fucking punch out anything. And we made leashes for Burton for a few years, but man, my favorite one had to be the truck inner tubes. I had this idea to get recycled truck inner tubes, and we stamped them out in strips, and then took a branding iron with their logo, and fucking, oh shit, Paul Clarkson lit on. I'm not kidding you, man. That kid lit on fire. Because the branding iron material was made out of magnesium, and he, I don't know, he's starting to stamp it, and he's like, part of it's touching the rubber, so he takes a grinder and he grinds it. I didn't know magnesium's flammable. And he's grinding, but the dust is hitting his shirt, and then he goes to fucking stamp the next one. Now, his shirt ignited. We hung that shirt up inside. Paul Clarkson.
That's amazing.
So we were branding the Burton logo into the rubber and then sewing. And again, leashes are lame. We had to do it because of the insurance.
Right.
That you had to have a retention.
I went to 1994, the industry meeting in Montana, Big Sky, Montana.
Oh, fuck yeah. That's where I met Sal.
Industry meeting. Cool. Sick. Actually, maybe this is a good point to say you might be the first black snowboarder in Canada for sure. 82? You're in 82, you're
16,
snowboarding?
Yeah, 16.
Yeah, 66 to 82.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's and I challenge listeners out there.
There's a lot of people that don't think I'm black though. You're the whitest black guy I ever met.
Oh, give me a break. But yeah, so that's a pin in that. But at the Montana Industry Conference, I sat for an hour with a guy who was pushing.
Is that where Danny Way caught up and went crazy at dinner time?
I can't remember.
Okay, sorry.
A lot of shit went down at that one,
yeah,
though. A lot of shit went down at that one. But there was a presentation, like a keynote speech on leash liabilities. And they actually explained why we needed to have leashes. And I didn't know this, and nobody probably knows this, but it was for board retention because we didn't have brakes on our boards. If you were at the top of the hill and you were carrying your board, it was supposed to be attached to your wrist.
Well, that's what, and this will get to the coil leash, but
right.
Yes.
So it was supposed to be attached to you, so if you dropped it, it wouldn't slide down the hill. But we were always told that we needed to ride it when we were riding the lifts. It wasn't like they were like, "Where's your leash for riding the lifts?"
It was 100% from the insurance liability.
Right.
It was all about skiing and retention.
That's it.
And the law came into effect because skis before brakes had leashes.
Oh.
So then brakes, now, correct me if I'm wrong, but also at that conference was the guy who invented ski brakes.
Yes, and he was doing a releasable binding.
He wanted to try and get this whole industry to switch over to that. Also at that conference was, everyone had their different hole patterns, the 3-hole pattern, 4-hole pattern. That's right. And not only that, I think the Mervyn guys were using Imperial and everyone else. So also was a guy giving a talk on standardization.
I went to that talk.
Yeah.
I went to that talk.
And people were like, "Fuck you,"
Oh yeah, people were "fuck you" for sure. The leash guy got it worse. I think the worst guy was the guy who was saying that release bindings were the only way to go.
Well, he invented them.
Yeah,
and he did well with skiing, but
revolutionized skiing.
Listen, man, snowboarding. At least it started. It was culture. It wasn't fact. It was art.
That's true.
Right?
Oh, 100%.
It was art, and you could make your own boards. You could modify your own boards. You could modify your bindings. You could do what on that board? You could. Yeah, it was culture.
It was culture.
And skiing, there are sports that are culture and sports that aren't. Like, when you see a skier walking down the street, you can't fucking tell. You see a snowboarder walking down the street, you could tell. That to me was a big difference. And because those sports that have no culture, I feel too, no culture, no persona, no personality, no pro riders. So skate, surf. See, mountain biking didn't have that. It got that
Eventually.
through BMX,
Yeah.
the influence of BMX.
Yeah.
But we were culture. So you didn't have... Man, I sat on an airplane one time going to ISPO in Munich, to Austria, and this Austrian... It turns out the guy is on the national ski team. And he's been on the team off and on a couple times, but he's so pissed off at fucking snowboarders.
Oh, why?
He was pissed. Why? He's like, you know how hard it is to be... Every kid in Austria wants to be on the ski team. Do you know what you got to do to make the team? I've been bounced off and on. It's like, you know how many months you got to work? And you guys are out there fucking drinking and then filming, and you're making more money than me?
Yeah.
Come on, man. No, he was pissed.
Of course. That's awesome. But awesome.
Again, because this was about culture and lifestyle. And, yeah. I mean, we're bouncing around a lot, but I think that was something, man. What fucking kid ever woke up and thought I might make my own pair of skis? Like, let me try and make a ski.
Yeah,
but
right.
Man, Todd DeCoker, when he's 14, 15 in Michigan, like, I don't know if something went out, if aliens sent something out, and it's like, ding, like all the entrepreneurs in those days, man, it's crazy. But yeah, like that era of snowboarding, and I thank you for recognizing. I don't even know where snowboarding's at anymore. And I feel like you recognize, and you don't recognize it, you know it, you've lived it. And I think for you, this is fun too. Like,
oh my God, it's so much fun. Like just seeing you light up on the stories, like when you're talking about Puppy B. Was that what it was? Puppy B?
Puppy B.
That's just so, because that's who you were at that time. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like
neon
it's
pink.
Yeah.
Neon orange and like neon. Okay, so the coil leash. Jake Burton.
Order for 5,000.
Orders for 5,000. And this is like after work, and so there's got to be like time to process. And this is the season's over now. This is March, April. Now, this is what I found out when their catalog came out. Though, they had a coil leash in their catalog, so they saw my coil leash at the first show. Now in the second season, they have a coil leash, but you know what? There were no coil leashes in the world. What there was, though, before cell phones, was telephones with coils. Now, if someone could find that, they have a leash in their catalog that has a telephone coil. Like,
that is the raddest Easter egg in snowboarding so far.
But they couldn't find anyone to make it.
Right.
And I think that's how they landed on me. And I'm like thinking, now I'm in the corporate world. I'm gonna get out of this mailroom department and work my way up to like accounts receivable clerk or something. And I get this phone call, and at that point, my brother Mark went back to that way of life. I think actually when I went to him, he was bruised from pistol whipping. Actually.
Oh God.
My brother Steve and Judy, and like whatever. So it was like me and my girlfriend at the time. I met my girl that became my wife, and we're like, fuck, okay, let's do it. Like I don't even know how we're gonna do this, but let's charge him $9. I figure it cost me $450 to make it. 9 times 5 is $45,000. That's amazing. Let's go. But we don't have any money to make it. And now, I'll say this to any entrepreneur out there, man, of all the different things, adventures that I've done, there's so many different ways to find financing. And this one way was just ask for a deposit, 50%. And she laughed, literally laughed on the phone. Like, no, she didn't laugh. It's like, it was the bursting and then the stopping of a laugh. She's like, this is Burton. You don't give deposits.
Amazing. Amazing.
Now, on Dragon's Den, they made me an offer better than mine. I should have taken it.
Right.
But I went back and I don't know. There's a ground that I go to hold. I think I've learned with myself is I'm not afraid to lose, like at all, anything. Like I'm not trying to be anything, so there's nothing you can. So I'm here, and I'm like, you can't? Okay, well, I guess we can't do it. Then a week later, the callback, and $22,500 US.
Burton sent you a deposit of
$22,500.
That's what started
to a
Pagoda.
kid living in his mom's basement.
It's incredible. That's incredible.
Yeah.
So they said no. You said cool. They called you back.
Yeah.
But you weren't playing a game.
I wasn't
You were
playing
just
a game.
Yeah.
And that was, but I'd say that's what launched us, because after that we
Yeah.
made leashes for every company in the industry, and programs for them. And but man, I remember making our first batch of a few thousand, and me and my girl decided to drive them down to Burlington.
Nice.
And we rented. We couldn't even afford a proper rental car. The car fucking broke down in Burlington. And we have. It wasn't a car. It was a little van. And we have these boxes of Burton leashes, which, by the way, we were rejected at the border because it didn't say where they were made. So then we had to figure out, we had to buy Made in Canada stickers and then open them up, stick those all on, then go to cross again. And we get there, and then we break down the night before in the town. And they're like, well, we're sorry, it's your fault. I'm like, you know what? Fuck you. Come and get your van then. And they're like, whoa, okay. So we somehow like get that fixed, and yeah, our first leashes we delivered to Burton for them was in Burlington, Vermont, or Manchester.
It was still in Manchester
Yeah.
before they moved to Burlington. That's incredible.
No, maybe
Yeah, you were
because
saying
we've
Burlington,
also been
right,
to Burlington
'cause-
as well.
Yeah,
No, I don't think we went down to Manchester.
Yeah.
That was super early.
yeah, that's incredible. That's incredible. And so then, when is the first product that's not a leash? What's the first thing?
That's a tool.
Okay.
So the coil leash is what made us, because
Yeah.
that's the only leash that made sense.
There was an era of coil leashes.
Because you could walk with that. If you drop your board, you're fine.
Yeah.
But then I'm like, I need to diversify.
Why? What's behind that? You're crushing it with leashes.
Yeah. We had a lot to do. I don't know, man. There's a thing in my brain about diversify, but like that's a tree on a branch, but you don't want to go too crazy with the tree, which
Yeah.
we'll get to, because,
Cool.
Plain saying XXX, they got branches that weren't part of their roots, like I was an accessory guy.
Yeah.
So tools were next. Actually, this is something like that.
So did this exist, and then you just
That, yeah, like as that,
printed
but we
label
went
on
on
it?
to make the Jimmy Driver, which was to put the whistle on there that you could smoke weed out of.
yeah. But you went and you
So what I did,
retooled all the inside stuff to make it tighter tolerances or something.
well, man, I don't know what, I don't want to bore you with it, but what makes this Pagoda is that I'd go to Taiwan. A ratchet's not a ratchet. So we would get them to buy Japanese ratchets.
Wow.
Like these ratchets are made in Japan.
Yeah.
And this plastic isn't just plastic. This is polycarbonate. Whereas other companies are going to be using ABS. Polycarbonate is what you use for headlights.
Okay.
So they have temperature range and impact resistance. So that's the things that would make Pagoda. So the tool was next. And then I think was the big road trip, because after that was the stomp pad, like the mini ones.
Yeah.
Now back then was the surf pads from West Beach that had the big ones.
Yeah. AstroTurf
Astrodeck.
Astrodeck was doing a lot of the early stuff.
And then there was some
those.
skate, like just putting skate tape.
Yep.
And I was making these leashes. Now I'm having fun with leashes. So I didn't, like my graphics, one year was a can of Raid. Yeah. And we bought bugs, and we bought plastic vinyl, and we put cockroaches. We stitched them on with this spray can. But my favorite one, though, this got us big in Japan, was I screen print. It was called the safety leash, and it had a screen print of some sperm. But we bought colored condoms that we opened and stretched up and also stitched under vinyl. So you had this condom. Fucking man, I forgot about that shit.
Awesome.
That took off. Now, the funny thing with that in Japan, though, they got stopped at customs, and maybe it's the name of it was the problem. But you're not allowed to import condoms. It's like it's a pharmaceutical.
No.
So they made our distributor cut everyone and take all the condoms out. And then they went and bought Japanese condoms and put them in. So he's telling me the story, and he's like, so we did this, we did that, we did that. But you know, it's just not the same. The condoms aren't the same size.
That's unbelievable.
Oh,
That's
man.
amazing.
There was the cop killer leash we did. That there's not very many of those.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
The creativity was there. The
I
branding
don't even
was
know
there.
but you know what? Listen, then I stayed in my lane. It was accessories.
Yeah.
And the mini stomp pads came from this trip. Me, my friend Chetty, and Scott Oliver, who went on to actually manage the Red program.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Sick. Yeah.
He was a rep, and then he went to, and then we were road tripping as kids. Our biggest road trip ever, man, in my Honda Civic. You know when you don't know how much you could die at any fucking time. Like we're going through Chicago after after the finish of the ice storm, but it's ice and like the vehicles.
Oh, yeah.
And we're just going back. Oh, look at that idiot! Oh, look at that idiot! And then some guy just in front of you, way up ahead, just starts doing this. And they go, that idiot lost control.
You're driving on the same road.
We're idiots.
That's amazing that you didn't die. That's good.
I bet you Scott was driving at that time. So we do this big road trip and hit border Missoula, Montana.
Yeah.
And then we get to, we were getting, because we were Bakota, and I had like 300 leashes. So we'd stop at stores and I'd sell them 20 leashes and then go, hey, here's fucking passes for Big Sky.
Sick.
You know, here's passes for Red Mountain, man. We rode Red Mountain, holy fuck. Because of Spokane, like a shop in Spokane. Then we went over to Seattle, and then those guys gave us passes for, because I'd say we're like shooting the Bakota catalog.
Sure.
At Stevens Pass. So
Yeah.
we rode Stevens Pass, and the best ever, man. And this is where we fucking met the West Coast, was Whistler and Ricardo. I pulled that trick at Whistler, shooting the Bakota catalog. We, 3 people, 3 days, fucking free at Whistler.
Wow.
And our very first run was the worst experience of my fucking life. I couldn't. As soon as you stand up, you're over. Ricardo's laughing his head off. We didn't know how to ride patter.
Of course.
Center stance.
So bad on those chopped down boards. Yeah.
Yeah.
I bought that Rome Rogers Powder Sucks ride shirt. And non-ironically, I wore that. I was like, I hate powder, because we went to Baker, cut down boards.
Cement.
It was just like crazy.
And to get out of it.
It was
like, you know what?
it wasn't
I always
worth it.
thought if I fall into a tree well, I just imagined it'd be nice and white, and I'd look around and go, okay, which way is up?
Yeah.
But the first time I went into one, oh shit, man, my friend Chetty, the cement at Baker, he stop, boom, scorpion, slashed the back of his head. That kid, though, that was before lunch. He's like, let's keep riding. And then we went for stitches, and then he stole shit. And then I busted my chin open at Whistler. I landed off a drop, and I stopped. And I hit my chin so hard, I ended up down at the hospital getting stitched up.
On that road trip. That's nuts.
On that road trip.
Oh, man.
But
Okay,
that
so
was
the
dirty.
first-
So then I get a phone call from Mistral or something.
Yeah.
They want to order a few thousand leashes.
Yeah.
We are now in Colorado Springs, I think, and I'm like, I got to go back, but we're like only weeks in, and I'm like, okay, you guys, Noah Brandon, was there, and I think he's like, well, I got to go back to Vermont. Like, I think he's a New England kid.
He was, yeah.
And so I left my car with those guys, and I drove back with Noah. And on that trip, not that I recollect it, like, I just, at that time, is when I'm like, why are stomp pads so fucking big?
That's rad. So the very first small stomp pad is the
circle with
with the kind of like a roof, a house roof on it, or something like just 2 quarter pipes, like a spine.
I wanted it to be like for kicking.
Yeah.
And it was made out of polyurethane. And Chetty, my roommate, and through all that, he was in drafting in school, so he could draw it up.
Sick.
And I don't know how I got it made, actually. I can't
Those
remember.
went off, but then they became metal.
Yeah, man.
And then the little metal domes.
Yeah, dude.
I still have some of those somewhere because you can heat them up, take them off, put them on a piece of sticker backing. They're you could have those for life.
We had we had a contest.
And
if you look in the catalog
too, right?
There's the M track, the K track, and the A track.
Yeah.
Because K is Kev. It's like, this is my design. Me, my brother Mark, and Al. Because we were like, whose is going to sell best? And Al came up with the the tiny dots.
The pyramid? Were they pyramids or were they?
I think he
the little dots.
With the little dot with, but with a point, and then the pyramid. But then I fucking went crazy with stomp pads. In China, I'd see so many manufacturing methods. When I started to see micro injection and what you can do with polyurethane, all the different colors. I made a ninja one. I made one that was a beer can. It looked like a beer can that you just crushed.
Amazing.
And, but it's a Canadian.
I love it. I love it.
But just stomp pads. The high backpack.
That was after the locks, right? So I think the locks were...
Oh, you're right. Okay, sorry. It went tools, then locks.
Tools, locks, stomp pads, high backpack.
Yeah. And
you would
and then wax.
Wax.
We got into wax. And then I made an edge sharpener. Yeah. Dude, I got this catalog. The first edge sharpener is literally just a block of wood.
Yeah.
But I made an edge sharpener out of I made it so it was 90 degrees and 88 degrees.
Yeah.
I used magnets to hold the file in.
Oh,
so you didn't have to.
Oh, yeah.
And I had a brush on the backside to clean the files that was also held by the same magnets. And I had little channels inside because, when you sharpen your edges, the shavings fall down. And if you keep going over, you put the shavings into your board. So
totally.
So I cut a channel in there and the magnet. So now as you're filing, you've got the channel to trap and the magnets to pull. And then you can just and clean it out.
I forgot about that.
90 degrees, 88 degrees. That's one and that was cast aluminum. See, that's
that's crazy too.
This is why I come into your store all excited.
Right, because the edge sharpener, they've been sharpening edges on skis forever. Like they've had the
shavings. Yeah, that's what we use. Like the Coup Sport and
Swix, Toco. All these guys have been around for years. And here comes this dude.
That aluminum line on your board.
Yeah, you do. And here comes this dude that solves that little problem and adds the magnets. The magnets
are magic.
It was a game changer.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
Bro, when I fell in love with magnets. So this tool, we sold a whole bunch. I figured out magnets. After the trade show, Vegas is done. This had a wrench in it as well.
Yeah.
And bits. But... when you open it up, you could drop the bits. It was after the trade show I realized I could put 2 magnets in that wrench.
Yeah.
And I did it, and that's how I shipped it. We didn't even charge anymore. It was just like that's
so
a better
sick.
way for the product.
Yeah. That was the innovation that made Bakota.
Yeah, because I didn't want you to fucking lose a bit in the snow,
Right.
The tool was really important, man, because I don't know what it was with Snowboard Bindings, but shit just kept coming loose.
Oh, and totally.
Fucking to have your ankle strap, it almost became a point of which bolt would I like? Which strap would I rather lose?
Right.
My toe strap or my heel strap?
It's true. It's
and
true.
I would rather lose my heel strap.
I was just talking about
Because
this.
I need like
Yeah,
the toe
yeah, of
turn,
course.
right?
The
But
toe.
I'll work out the heel turn like to pull up on the toes.
Yeah.
I'd rather
yeah.
lose my heel strap. But like so, they were still figuring out hardware and bindings.
They were.
They didn't know about like lock nuts or what. I don't know.
I just spoke with Rory Carr about this from RC today, because he ended up buying Bakota from Drake and Northwave. Anyways, this is way at the end of the story, but essentially, Drake and Northwave get Bakota, and within a few years, they can't make it work, because, in my opinion, the bindings stop coming loose. You stop needing a tool. Kids these days don't buy a tool. They don't buy a leash. They don't buy a
But the
fucking high
brand,
backpack.
once I joined them though, then the brand like went into gloves and bags. Then I was going after Dakine.
That's it. That's it.
But before that, I stayed in my lane.
You stayed in your lane and you did it
wax.
perfect. Yeah.
Like wax, we would buy wax from Germany in bulk, and we would melt it and pour it ourselves.
Sick.
Because we found, once you go to the ISPO show, you think Toko and Swix got it, man, like Austrians and Germans. And so we'd buy, and like, because we'd get it so cheap, we could do like fluorocarbon waxes, really cheap. And I designed our packaging as such that it was also the mold. So you just pour it in the packaging.
It's perfect.
And it closes. And our first wax, oh my God, our first wax we ever did was called Wax Tarts. Holy fuck, dude. Okay, I'm sorry. That's packaging I figured out. The first wax we did, we literally just bought aluminum, like
tarts.
Like tart shells. Poured it in, and then we call them wax tarts, and then dropped the label on top and shrink wrapped it. That's what we were making in Stony Creek.
That's amazing.
In Hamilton.
That's incredible.
That's how we got into wax, and that's also the edge sharpener at that time. And then the mini stomp pad. So, but Bakota is one thing, but all these other companies love what we were doing. So we're manufacturing for Sims because of our little mini ones. Then we were doing X's for Sims. Fucking Plainsane. You remember Plainsane?
Of course.
Mikey. Fucking, this was great. If anyone has a Plainsane stomp pad, it was a condom with a French tick. Now I'm talking 3D, and with spikes all along it.
Oh my God!
Yeah,
I remember it. That's insane.
Oh shit!
That's incredible.
I forgot that.
That was the character of snowboarding. Was your accessory stuff like that? Like you could have a big chain leash if you wanted.
Man, someone did come out.
Remember,
yeah.
like a giant chain leash. Or you could have a barf stomp pad. Someone did a barf stomp pad.
Yeah.
It was nuts. And you had, it's, I like, you keep saying you stayed in your lane, right? Like accessories was your big money maker. It was your branding.
That's
was
how I got
all-around
bought,
accessory.
bro.
Yeah.
That's how my company got bought.
Right.
When the Japan Revolution came around, how many brands did we have? Like over 200 brands of snowboards.
Easy 200.
There's like a clothing brand. I know of a few clothing brands that didn't do. I mean, some like Twist and shit. Like,
yep,
they're knocking it out of the park like everywhere. But
totally.
Some they were just really doing their numbers in Japan, and I was like, my fucking roommate is Neil, like a shop owner, man. Like I'm from snowboard skate shops, and so I was all about how many relationships, like it's like energy, man. It's like how many outlets are you plugged into? Because if one pulls a plug, how many are you plugged into now? For a lot of people, when Japan pulled the plug, now how many customers you got?
Right.
But Bakota, I think we were always a snowboard shop brand, and RC wasn't. And in Japan, we did well, but that was never
It's the same thing you were talking about with Burton saying, okay, we order 5,000 You go 50% deposit. They go no. You go okay.
Yeah. And then, but also I could see the industry consolidating. And I mean, I'm not a smart guy. It's not like, some things you don't like see and go, hey, I see this coming. You just feel it. But like, I just felt the VHS store. That's what I felt. I was before VHSs. Yeah. And then the video store came out. Yeah. And fuck, there was everywhere. And they're like $1,000 membership. And if you're late 2 minutes, that's another $20 and blah, blah, blah. And then the years go by, they start closing down, consolidation starts happening, and then who was left? So the industry, I just maybe had an understanding.
You saw that.
Of some type of explosion that wasn't sustainable, and there'll be a consolidation. And not only that, how dare I fucking try and make a snowboard boot when I'm trying to find the best 3M adhesive for a stomp pad?
Right.
Like we had our own freezer. We had a boot we filled with cement and we put on a swivel because when you get to the bottom of the hill, it's like you don't just want to stand on it. You need to be able to kick this thing, man. Not only that, you know when you just snap your board down?
Yeah. Yeah.
That shock, by the way, those metal stomp pads you're talking about, the first adhesive was the same for polyurethane. This is where I learned that shit. Then we go to Colorado or to Big Sky, and I'm like, hey, guys, look at my stomp pad. And I go and I do that, and pow, it goes off of the... I'm like, fuck, that didn't stick. What's up with that? Then I had to learn more about, like, closed cell adhesives, open foam cell adhesives. Adhesives they use to hold glass to the side of buildings has to be that strong. And I test that shit. So how am I going to make boots?
Right.
How am I going to make a boot fit right? What the fuck do I know about boots? Oh, because Japan wants to order 3,000? Right. Or even snowboards? Because Jamie has blocked off 1 million boards. If you want any boards from Austria, you got to come through me. And he'd walk around the show going, okay, 10,000 from you, 5,000 from you. It's like, I'll do 2,000 boards. Yeah. And now I got a snowboard company. No, bro. That's what I mean about staying in my lane. And also, I don't know. I just fucking loved making shit.
Loved it. Like it was fun, right? Like every year there was something that was like a little tweak challenge. And then, but bringing it to market.
It was always for the riders.
Yeah.
Like, say, this is just a screwdriver. And then Jimmy's in our place when we were in Stony Creek. So Jimmy's part of the Exodus West. And I just remember him, like, and we're giving him a box of shit, and he's like, man, it'd be so cool if you could smoke weed out of this. And it took me like 2 or 3 years to figure it out. We were actually trying to drill a chamber through there. I didn't even think about what's all involved to get into here, but I'm like, if we drill, you pack your weed there. So when we finally made the whistle, and we made it metal and chrome plated, and we put a hole back here so you could pack your weed there and hit it, we called the Jimmy driver.
That was the Jimmy driver.
That's
after
the Jimmy
Jimmy.
Driver, yeah.
After Jimmy.
But Jimmy'd already passed away.
Oh, wow. Well, then it's a tribute, which is even better.
It's a tribute to Jimmy.
I mean, not better that he passed away, but that's sick.
It's terrible. But I've driven with Jimmy up to Whistler, and if I was going to pass away in a car, that guy loved driving, man.
Yeah.
But he knew his car, too.
Yeah.
And I'm a shitty driver. I'm like, from here up to the chief. I'm like, Jimmy, I don't know about this, man. He's like, don't worry, man. All his weight in the car. I don't know, Jimmy.
That's a scary drive. I've done Vancouver to Whistler in under an hour. But pre-2010, like it was a shit windy road.
No, that's an hour and a half drive.
Yeah.
Like, when it's like clean and clear.
I wasn't driving.
Under an hour?
It was an Austrian street bike, like Tour de France style bike racer guy. He was like national champ in Austria, Bernie, and he had a little Honda Civic, and we were every
you can
corner
trust,
was like
Jimmy was Italian. Like you can trust Europeans. Like,
we made it there. I was drinking. I remember I drank like a 6-pack on the way up, like just thinking. At one point, I think I took my seatbelt off. I was like, I'm so scared I don't know what to do. I'm holding on, I'm gripping, and then I just took my seatbelt off and was drinking and was like, all right, Bernie's got this.
So you got to go through,
Bernie's
man.
got
the
this.
only way to the other side
Yeah,
is
fuck
through.
it. Bernie's got it.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not going to tell him to slow down. He's
And
having
he doesn't
a
wanna die.
blast. No.
Yeah.
And he's,
You know,
dude, that
Scott
was
Oliver,
psycho.
with my car, that's the thing, man. So from Stevens Pass, we're supposed to follow Ricardo up to Whistler. And Scott's like, Kevin, let me drive. I was fucking, I'm like, we're falling so far behind. I'm like, I can't see. It's raining.
Yeah. I'm a slow driver, dude. I'm slow. That's when I do on the phone, you know how long it's going to take me to get there? I never make it in the time. Like, they have to add a little time.
Like,
they think I'm going to drive faster
normally
than I
it
drive.
says route adjusted. Yours says the time is being adjusted.
You are slow. I
You
just,
know, if
I
there's
don't
any
go through
debates on the
lights.
concept of
Yeah.
time, it's like that's how you play with it.
All right, tell me about how exciting it was to sell the company to, who reaches out
man.
from North Wave Drake.
So, well, wait. Can I tell you about Devin Walsh?
Okay, yes, please, because that's one thing that we've skipped over here completely is that Bakota was also sponsoring some of the best riders in the world. It was a dope accessory brand to have.
Yeah. Well, okay. We were always. The thing is, up until I moved here, I think in '96, so we built ourselves a pretty good thing in Ontario. And then I remember we bought our first house, this small house. It's the equivalent of, say, like Surrey. But I remember one day looking out and seeing the last tree get cut down because they could get 2 more houses in there. And I was broke. I'm like, how did I fucking end up here? I had my second son was just born. I had my Bakota making the dope shit bumper stickers. But I'm like, how did I end up here? And you know that Talking Head song, you know, I can't, but this ain't my beautiful. Like,
Yeah.
I'm like, and we had the house only for a year or so. Again, I don't know my character, bro. Like but it's not, I'm never questing for anything. I'll tell you that. I get stuff and I'm like, this wasn't my dream. And I looked around at all my neighbors and I'm like, how did this happen? I'm like, Lynn, we got to sell this place. We got to get out of here. And we came out here for a week. We went to Kelowna. I was determined to move to Kelowna. And we get there, and it was so old and so white that I was like, let's check out Vancouver. And Vancouver, like, that was it. So at that time, we still had about 30 employees. But I started to work with Taiwan for the first time. So I'm like, shit, man. It's cheaper. It's like I mean, in retrospect, I guess I was one of those guys, right, that laid off people and went to Asia. But it wasn't just for profit seeking. Like if I'm making snowboard stuff, like the heart is here and I want to be in the soul. My brothers moved to where it was affordable. I went right into Lynn Canyon, like right off Kirkstone, Ennerdale. That's where I showed up, and then start doing my thing and stuff. And I don't know these guys, but Iris is around.
Yep.
And I forget how it all happened. Maybe I just stop in to see those guys. I start meeting. That's where I would meet Dave and Devin. And Devin thought I was dope. And like, you know, I wasn't doing anything I wasn't doing. You know, I'm like, yeah, man, have some shit. And these guys are like they're like in the magazines like crazy. They get these boards, their boots, their bindings. Like, I don't know how much he's making. $250,000. But you know what? Didn't have wax. Didn't have a binding tool. And leash, whatever. But like the basic, it didn't have waxing iron. I'm like, what? Here, man. Like, so that's like our relationship started that way. And then I think I asked him, I'm like, you know, like the forum guys, Kevin Sansalone,
That's right.
Yeah, Kevin.
Kevin and Devin.
Yeah.
I remember when you came into the shop and you said, we got big news. We just signed Devin Walsh. Because he was one of the biggest snowboarders in the world. And
Bro,
you were
man,
so
he didn't
stoked.
act like it.
You were so stoked. And it was great for the brand. We were stoked. We were like, holy shit, that's legit.
Kevin, then he introduced it to the other guys at Forum. JP, he's like, fuck yeah. Bjorn, Jeremy.
Wow.
And I remember, I'm not dissing this guy at all, man, but like Mike Michalchuk was a boss, but I remember Devin, he's like, you know what I mean? Like, because I think Devin was like particular, you know, about like
Devin's the most
this
particular.
is a team.
Yeah.
This is a rider. Like we all hang out. We don't know this guy.
Yeah. Devin was really, he came from a skateboard background and he was all style.
It's not just that. He had to me had a sense of himself as a brand. He had a, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But with not ego.
Not ego, but he was curating.
He's like not those photos.
Yeah, he was like you, right? Like, so you're talking about the specifics of each and every product you design, and he's telling photographers, if I didn't land the trick, I don't want you submitting that photo to a magazine. Not because no one else is doing that. Like Rob Dow's not doing that. He's like, fucking, if it's a good shot, it's a good shot.
If you caught me here.
Yeah, and I look good, put it in. Sorry, Rob, but he's told me that. I'm the same, man. Like, half my photos are bails, but Devin took it to that next level. He also would talk with, like, filmers and photographers, like, only one of you gets to use the shot. I don't want to see the cover shot be the ender of my part.
I mean, what
either.
fucking vision is that, right?
Yeah.
Like I don't want to see this type of redundancy. Like,
exactly.
This is like, we try and learn shit. We take this course and learn this, or take the Devin Walsh course on personal branding, athletic branding, learn this.
Yeah, exactly.
Fucking no one taught him that shit.
No.
Like and some people can get there by learning it, and then other people, like, some it just comes like
it's all from here,
like innately, and like I say, I just made leashes, or I just made like, listen, man, I'm not any product genius, man. Like, it turns out, like, genetically, nature is like, make screwdrivers, you know, like make little things that people like, or something. But like, it's not saying make a power generator or something. And anyway, like, give that guy so much credit. And so Northwave, it started there. It started with this relationship, and next thing I know, Devin's fucking inviting me up to the West Beach Classic, and I'm like, what is it, the Longhorn?
Yeah.
So they got rooms there, so you're not on your patio watching, you're on the roof of the Longhorn, like, and these guys are like, hey, gotta go for my run, it's like,
that's amazing.
I forget who all was there, man, but they're like, gotta go for my run. And then other guys got, and it's like, I'm like, man, this is dope.
Those are the days.
And I remember, I don't often pick up girls, like girls like pick me up, and then they find out I'm a loser, and like that happened that night. I remember this girl picked me. I'm out there with those guys at the Cartier, and some girl, like, almost by the arm, but like after a while. How long did it took me over an hour to realize I'm now hanging on to her. I'm like, fuck, man, I'm going to hang out with Devin. Like,
right.
Fuck you, bitch.
That's a good analogy for the way you've lived your life, right? People are make us 5,000.
But part of it is
right.
acknowledging how much of a loser I've been at a certain time.
Sure.
For real, because like, I'm not all the time. And then plus then I'm like, I'm not. I'm just like, you're making me feel like a loser right now. So you know what? Peace out. So those guys, and then the X Games were in Colorado. Not Crested Butte. That was a Transworld
Copper maybe, or Aspen. Aspen was X Games.
I think it's Colorado Springs,
yeah,
possibly, because I'm not sure, man. But
yeah,
me and then Devin invites me to drive with him and Derek Catella.
Oh, sick! What a crew!
Yeah, man.
What a crew!
And I remember, Devin stops in Bellingham because I don't know why he had. Maybe it just came out, but the new Outkast album.
Oh, wow.
But I remember making a stop in Bellingham to go to the record store. Maybe it was the record store there that he knew about. I'm not sure, but so we bounced down there, and that's when I meet. Oh shit, man! We go out for dinner, dude. It's not like I'm starstruck, but I'm just in this, and I'm just now out for dinner, and there's JP, Jeremy, Bjorn, Steve.
I would be starstruck. Jesus. Yeah, that's crazy.
And then it's one of their birthdays, maybe JP. And then a birthday cake comes up with Tina Bassich and her boyfriend, which I believe is Dave Grohl.
Yeah, that sounds
And he's got
right.
the birthday cake.
No way.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah.
That's some insanity right there. That's crazy. That's crazy.
That was crazy. Those guys like to play dice, and
I remember the dice years. That was
who
fun.
was the SMP? Bro, man. See, I don't know, man. I've been snowboarding a while, but I'm not like the whiskey guys or like
Right.
shit,
Right.
But the types of jokes these guys would play on each other, and I won't say the company names, but like big companies, and you got the owner and the sales exec, but they're all just like 25-year-old fucking. And as a joke, at 2, 3 in the morning, 4 in the morning, anyway, when the guys have rented their different cars, one guy's passed out, so they take his rental car and they rip it around the village or whatever, bouncing it off until they fucking crash it in a curb or in the ditch, and then leave it, run back to their rooms, pack their shit, jump in their vehicles, and take off. They're already out of town before that guy wakes up to the cops knocking on his door. What happened to your cars? Like, it's crazy. Those are the types of jokes they would play. And
That's insanity.
I'm not like that, man.
Yeah.
But it's like
That's badass.
But so from that, Derek Catella shot this catalog for me, and all these photos of those guys in here. Look at these photos. Those are unused photos. Those could have been in any magazine. Like, those are from photo shoots that they didn't, like, Derek didn't sell the photos, and then said, hey, you can have this, you can have that.
That's a crazy good shot.
Look at the next one, Devin with the tool. That's right at the ski resort with the high backpack on there. And
that's unreal.
That's the Jimmy driver, right? And that actually.
And look at how nice it looks.
No,
like
that's a handmade. That's like spray painted satin. We hadn't even figured it out yet.
Yeah. You just.
A concept. Special blend. And,
it just made it so cool. This is my favorite tool of all time.
And I gave a double page spread. That thing sold for $4.50. That's my favorite tool too.
This is my favorite tool of all time. And you're the one that showed me that. Now, I'm not certain the way that you do. Yeah, most people would poke this thing through straight, but you just put that on that end.
Turn it up.
Yeah.
So the L, and then you put the short side.
The short side. Then you've got a T driver. It's perfect. Right.
So this is 8 millimeter, 8 mil, 10 mil, 6 mil. So
and then you got the thick. This is the genius part of it, is that you got the number 3, and that's the number 2.
Number 2.
It's so perfect.
Because
and then you put it. Yeah. Exactly. And then you use this. This is just a nice soft neoprene pouch that you could have that in a Kanga pouch. You could have that in a
pocket. Because that other driver was bulky, and when you fall,
super bulky, right?
But so this catalog to me was a fucking piece of art. Like,
waxing
I had to go
iron.
to Taiwan I accidentally found this waxing iron. And
that's amazing.
I tried to get exclusive on it, but later I couldn't. But I had exclusive for a couple of years.
This is beautiful. Like, even the shot.
Yeah, it's Bjorn.
So high up that tree ride. Jesus.
And then,
There's your edge tool.
yeah, I could have done a better job of that. With the wax scraper, I made like a school protractor, so 30,
Yep.
60, 90, and measuring tape. I should have had a better shot of that. But
That's
man.
funny that you say that. Yeah, I know what you're saying here, but like it's beautiful. Devin.
Yeah, there's me and Devin. I think that's Sansalone's board up there because I did the board hangers too, so you could hang your board on your
That's a
wall.
Devin. That's an OG Devin for him. That's sick.
That's me and him working on his bag. So my first backpack was the Devin Walsh.
That's amazing. I forgot about
And you know,
that.
and he wanted it neon orange inside. You know, so when you look in, like, because a lot of them are black and you lose shit. And,
Yeah.
yeah, you want it very visible inside. And
That's incredible. See, that's the thing of the innovation's driven by the people who use the product.
well, the next year, we made it so we could snowmobile.
Oh, that's epic.
Yeah, like carry your board and snowmobile. The way I like yeah, wax cleaner.
Wax cleaner.
Now I gotta say that's a shitty looking bag the first year, but that's my first attempt. At,
That's fine.
Yeah, backpacks and like our bags program was crazy after that. But
Yeah, it's a little plain, but I get it.
but you could slide your board through there, and so you could carry your board.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh,
And there's the wall hangers. People still
the board, yeah.
need
You know what,
these.
man? My mistake with those, I made those out of solid cast aluminum.
Yeah, they were heavy as fuck.
When I joined Northwave, it's like, why don't I just fucking injection mold these things and chrome plate them?
Yeah.
Chrome plate them.
And
Yeah, well, then you knock the cost down. But then that's how fucking brand loses its soul as well.
totally.
I was about
Totally.
metal and aluminum, and then you start to become plastic because it's more
Ah.
economical.
Yeah, totally. So there's Bjorn upside
and
down.
See, and then I'm like, fuck leashes, but we need them.
The stringer.
The string.
The strapless. They were so tiny.
So it
They
started
just
with
went
these
from
big
your
straps.
fucking binding to your. You just clip on your
Yeah.
lace, basically.
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
I
Okay,
was
so
a
there's the
snowboarder,
A
man.
track, the G track, Biggie, M track, C track. That's amazing. Oh yeah, these were innovative too. That you got
The
because
tuning kit?
yeah, because someone would go to buy an edger, and you're like, oh, just buy the kit. It's
Yeah,
like
you got
it's
your
you got everything.
You're right, yeah.
Yeah, and then the high backpack. Those were everybody needed them for.
Well,
for
like
that
Devin
couple
loved
of
it, man.
seasons.
Devin
Yeah.
rode the X Games with his.
Really?
Yeah. Not everyone loved it, for sure. Like, yeah, that's lame, that's gay. But,
I know what you're saying. Yeah, but I think the main concern for us at the retail level was that people were getting them stolen, because you would have it on the back of your high back, and then you go in for lunch and someone would steal all your shit. Would just take your pack.
I don't know, man, but we sold a lot of those. And,
Yeah.
and then made other ones too.
And there's that Bakota display you're talking about.
Yeah, the power to say. But we made countertop ones.
Yep.
So, that holds 5. That holds like 20. And
I think we had one of both at the West 4th store. I think we had one of these and one of these.
Yeah.
It was just
Yeah,
hand
man,
over
it's,
fist. We were just selling this stuff like
But
crazy.
the tuning stuff
look
maybe.
at that shot. JP.
That's Seymour, isn't it?
I don't know. No, that looks like Utah somewhere. Look at
I'm
that.
telling you, man, and Kittel is like. Just look at how many countries. Is that it? Like that's our distribution.
Who to call? Canada, Quebec. Oh, this is all Canada. But then there's Japan, France, Switzerland, Italy, Germany, Austria, Australia. Yeah, that's what.
Now,
when.
look at the next year.
Oh my
Once
God.
I joined Northwave. So, and I got again like Kitela's photos.
Yeah.
And my desire for this design is what
Oh
sold
wow! Look at the
Bakota,
bags. Look at the bags.
Right? Like now we're going out. To
Oh my
design,
God! Yeah, you got like so many bags in here.
And the gloves, I had vented gloves.
Yeah, and look at the high backpacks. Oh, and everything's now on Drake bindings.
Yeah, man.
Right. It was a really
Look at
good
that. I love that
partnership with the Heine. That's incredible. Yeah, the Bakota little pipe gloves. Those were sick with the zippers.
Yeah, I did a
Zipper
I
vents.
did a Cypress version, a Grouse, a Seymour.
Really? That was the names of those mitts. I love it. That's fucking rad.
And then got into helmets.
3-layer gore.
So so this catalog and those guys, like, just like that contrast went from that to this.
Yeah. MacGyver driver, was that in that one, or is that new for this? Was that the big new one for
Actually,
this season?
This is probably my last season. I was with them for 3 years.
Yep.
So the MacGyver driver is looking pretty slick there.
Yeah.
In the first catalog, again, it's prototypes, man. Like,
yeah.
And this is before 3D printing and machining. So
right.
Like, we're like not me, but we had Al, industrial designer. That was Matt Hexamer, industrial designer. I think he's done a lot of stuff in the industry, like for Scott and Bell.
Okay.
But in those days, he did some of the gloves. But me and Matt worked on the MacGyver driver. That was some serious engineering. I remember being in Taiwan because that tool, that tool is based off after I sold my dream car was a fucking Volkswagen Jetta.
Nice.
VR6.
Yep.
5-speed.
Sick.
Oh God, I gotta tell you this story, man, because going back and forth now to Northwave in Seattle and Vancouver.
Yep.
And up to Whistler. So the car key, that push button,
click,
man.
And then it would shoot.
I love that shit. It'd be in my pocket and I'm playing with it. So I'm driving up to Whistler one day, got my sunroof open in my navy blue Jetta, half the speed of Jimmy. And that's when I just had the idea, wouldn't it be cool to make a tool that snapped open like that?
Yeah.
So that was the basis of the MacGyver driver.
Yeah.
And fine with all that, but then I'm like, I got to get a pipe in here too.
Yeah, totally.
And so I ended up integrating a pipe, and so it's an actual brass pipe going through there in a bowl. And now I'm in Taiwan, like checking the samples, and I'm like, I got to test the pipe. I smoked weed in those days, but not tobacco.
Right.
And tobacco's a whole different animal. So I'm in this little factory office with the owner of the factory, my agent, the engineer, and all I had was their Taiwanese cigarettes, which are not like ours, right? And so I packed that in there, and I hit it. They have no clue of pipes or anything. They and I exhale, and they're like, "You North Americans find the most crazy ways to smoke." And meanwhile, that tobacco over there was made me so high, and I'm sitting there, and I just like, okay, it works. They didn't know what we were making it for, but yeah, the MacGyver driver had to be smokable. Jimmy driver was smokable, and so yeah, we joined Northwave. So after this trade show season, and I met Johan at the Dakine booth because we weren't competitive. The guys at Dakine, we exchanged catalogs, and Johan, the sales director for like Northwave, there was the distribution out of Seattle, but the company's out of Italy.
Right.
And also the marketing was out of Seattle to give it all the North American imagery.
Totally.
Right. So
yeah, they did N boots for a while before they were comfortable with the Northwave name.
And they had to buy that trademark too. Someone had that windsurfing company. But
oh, really? Crazy.
But Johan he loved it, and I don't know, man. We stayed in touch, but I'll tell you, our sales for Bakota were the highest ever.
Yeah.
Oh shit! I got to tell you about the ad we did though, the Devin Walsh ads coming up to the trade show. So you're right, Devin Walsh was the first. So we bought a full-page ad in Transworld 3 months before the trade show. It was black. In the middle was just said Devin Walsh and a lightning bolt, a cloud and a lightning bolt hitting his name. And then it went through and down. There was Bakota.
Sick.
Then the next issue, another one, but now we added Michael Chuck and Sansalon. And the trade show issue was a double-page spread, black, with fucking JP, Jeremy, Bjorn,
damn.
Dan, and crazy fucking trade show.
Yeah.
In Vegas, the SIA, and so that all that energy, right, and then all these orders, but fucking snowboarding is seasonal. So great, our sales are way up. Now go get the money to make it, and so that's So I started talking with Johan Sims also, and an investor from up in Pemberton, and Sims was going downhill in 10 different ways.
Totally.
And the investor, that could have worked out, but Northwave, as a European brand, but with the North American branding and like what they had done, plus they just bought Drake, also Italian, but now with this, I think Dane, these guys, Dane and Gumby, were from Ride Snowboards, and you know the whole Ride explosion with Tim Pogue, and
Yeah.
so these guys, I think could be wrong, but sort of get ejected at some point. They're like, fuck all y'all, and then they get distribution for Northway Drake. It was those guys. They should have bought Pagoda, but they got me in with like then the Italians. Now we're working out of our house in North Van. Man, Peter Line was coming by, like all these guys on their way up to Whistler to like get wax and shit. They just dropped by, like on their like Dave, Chris Brown, Jamie Lynn, I think, like come get stocked up. And so we had this buzz going, and I'm like, fucking Sims is dying. Northwave is legit in Europe and is legitimized from Seattle.
Totally.
And so I had this idea in my mind that you sell a company. If we do talk about Dragon's Den, you'll see why I lost this idea. But you sell it for one-time sales. And so I made an offer, and it seemed like Gumby and Johan. Actually, no, I'm sorry. I approached those two specifically. I drove down to Seattle just for distribution.
Right.
Gumby's like, fucking, we love this, man. We 100%. But we don't want you to go and sell it out if we build it. So we want first.
Oh.
That's what happened. But so after that, then I get a call from Sims. Then this other. So then I'm like, Gumby, I'm getting some calls here, and then that's when the negotiations started. But I was, in my mind, nothing's ever going to happen. Gumby's, like, I'm like, this may never happen, Gumby. He's like, don't worry, get everything shipped here. You don't have to ship to Canada. You can. He was so certain we were going to do the deal.
Wow.
For months we're negotiating, and everything I had shipped, even to the point where it's now September, it's time to ship to stores. I drove down there. I packed my own fucking orders in the morning and then sat with him in the afternoons, because this may not work, but accounts receivables work,
Yeah.
And, dude, that's crazy. I forgot about that. He had such confidence we were going to get there, and the Italians had to fly over, man, like Johnny Piva and like his main accountant, and go through our accounting records. And now listen, when you sell a company, there's two ways you sell it. You sell off your brands and your IP.
Yeah.
So sometimes people are like, all I want's your name, I'll figure out everything else.
Yeah.
The other way is you sell everything, and most people don't want that because they don't know the skeletons in the closet.
Right.
We don't want your tax burdens and shit.
Yeah.
I'll say this, man. They went through our records, which was my girlfriend back then, became my wife, and she did such a good job. They were here 2 days. Everything was so clean, man. We sold our company, had 3 installment payments. Now listen, I'll say, as an entrepreneur, we don't know what it means to get paid.
Right.
Like, consistently.
Right.
We don't know that.
Yeah.
Like, it's feast, then famine, and then borrow to have little feasts until the next feast. So I do this deal at the tallest building in Seattle too, man. I'm like, Lynn, I can't believe we're looking out, planes are flying right by the window. We sign it. We get our first check. We had sex in the car, like in the parking lot, man. And that was it, man. Then I had a contract to run Bakota, so now I'm getting paid every month. I was like, this is crazy. Now I'm in with like this cool team. Oh man, it was all game changer after that. And yeah, we moved out here in Devon, and then like meeting through, and then budget, more money came, so more products, more. Yeah.
So how long did you work as brand manager through Northway?
3 years.
3 years from 98 is
And
the
I
sale.
felt like you in carpentry school.
Oh no. So,
You know, I want to say, like, look, man, I feel bad too, because Derek, all these photos,
yeah.
that catalog, $1,400, man, and the next catalog was like $4,000 in photography. Like,
Right.
working out of my garage and like making some legit shit. Like, I was happy, like more than happy doing it. Don't get me wrong. It's just being seasonal is so hard.
Right.
And I was never about the money. I was never money chasing. As a matter of fact, you know, like I think I told you offline, but that screwdriver, when we first showed it at the trade show, it had the wrench, it had 4 bits in there. And that's how we sold it. And we were the first ones to have this T-handled screwdriver. Dakine had like the bullet one at the time. And I got this because I went to Taiwan and I saw this first.
Yeah.
After me, everyone got it.
Yeah.
But so maybe the second year after the trade show, that's when I realized that, man, dude, when I got into magnets, holy fuck, dude. I'm still into magnets. I'm like, they blow me away. Like, you can do so much.
I want to do a glove where the cuff is inside your jacket, and then the glove part you can take off, but then when you put it back in, it magnets click back to the thing.
Yeah, I want feel that.
Yeah, I want that because I take my
design
glove
that
off
for you.
so often. Oh, would you?
Yeah, man. I can see it right now.
I was talking with Rory Carr today about what happened to the Bakota name, and he bought it from Northwave Drag. And
let's get to that.
And he wanted to make money from it, but he couldn't figure it out. But I'm like, dude, we need to redo this. Like, we got Kevin Bakota
I was
right
a
here.
snowboarder then, right? Like, it's different when you design from the inside from the than from the outside.
Yeah.
I never designed for anybody but myself.
I just heard Rick Rubin say he never made an album for any fan ever.
That'll fuck you up, man.
Yeah.
Like, once you that's like using Google Maps instead of like your internal map. Like, when I go inside my head to map it and then I start listening to Google Maps, it fucks me up. I'm like, it's one or the other. And I really think it's two different parts of the brain. And like, I've met people who are incredible musicians, but they can't jam. Like, they can't make anything up.
Right.
Like, I can make all kinds of shit up, man, but I can't learn how to play Stairway to Heaven, you know?
Yeah.
And so I double down on that. My brain is not made to, like, learn something like so like that gets into like maybe ADHD and like different ways our brains are made. So even when I make jokes about like I'm a loser, I'm an idiot, in tarot cards, the very first card, which is number 0, is the Fool, because the Fool, there's nothing to protect, there's nothing to, like, it's always starting from nothing. So what can you take away from me when I'm already nothing, right?
Right.
And then I can be things and I do things. So I have, so I create some products like that, but it was being back to the carpenter. Holy fuck, man, I haven't had a boss in my life. Like, since I was 16 or something at Shoppers Drug Mart. Right. You know how many jobs I've been fired from? Or just decided I wasn't going to go to work? It's like, I'm tired. Or I'm with my girl, and I'm delivering pizza from, like, 6 till 11. And I'm stoned right now as fuck. Nah. And, like, but, you know, when you find a passion, this is the thing, man. I don't know for everybody, but man, when you get sparked by a passion, holy fuck. And mine had like some economic potential,
Sure.
right, within snowboarding. I wasn't after the money. I made money. I wasn't after it, and sold the company. I didn't even know what to do with the money. I bought a fucking Volkswagen.
I remember you coming into the shop after and being bummed. Is that right? You were like, I don't have the thing to do. The fucking, the designing, the drive, the excitement, the thing is gone. I sold it. It was like, I should have kept it. It was like my fucking baby.
Yeah, yes and no.
Am I wrong on that? I feel like there was maybe a year after where
I've done 2 ventures since.
Yeah. Where you came in and you were just like, fuck, I don't know what to do with myself right now.
Yeah, man. Like possibly, yeah. Actually, man. And then I quit after 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
Because I didn't like to see the version of me under a boss.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's I and there's self. And when we went to our first trade show and now someone's telling me what to do, and I just saw my personality shrink. And I didn't grow up around like a bunch of dudes trash talking each other. Like I didn't have that trash talk back type of thing. And fuck, I hated to see and actually I didn't even want my kids to see me with these guys. And I couldn't fix it at the level of persona. So, but I had a great job. I was flying all over the world. I'd be in Asia for a month for all these factories and then come home and then to Vegas. And then our booth is flying off and we're smoking weed and the cops are just like, Brett Tippie just got arrested for weed. It's like, you better not smoke weed here. We're like, wait, what? That was the year I think Jimmy took a golf cart at the Treasure Island, I think. And no, I think he jumped in the boat at the Treasure Island.
That's what it was.
And they were trying to catch him, and he's trying to get this way and get that way. And, I know, man. Like snowboarding, I almost said the word. It was so punk, but we were stickering cop cars. It was crazy, but I wasn't like the whiskey guys. Like, man, when that video premiered, holy shit!
Some next level shit right there, huh?
Holy shit! Correct me if I'm wrong.
No, you're
Just
right.
that first shot in slow motion. Oh, fuck. And then the movie starts. I'm like, fucking talking about storytelling and filmmaking, right? I'm like, where is this going?
Yeah.
But, like, other stories, but, like, those guys, I wasn't like that. But some of the guys definitely were. The Cashins of the world.
Sure. Yeah.
Drop his clothes.
Totally. Yeah. Yeah.
But just to tie that up, yeah, it was a good sale. I finished as a creator. I created something. I remember the very first, all this journey through, and I completed it, and I let it go. And then I went on to ProFlix, which my brother started.
Oh, shit. I forgot about ProFlix. The fucking flip books with the pictures in them, right?
Yeah, man. But my brother patented the shape.
Okay.
He put a rivet in it so you could also fan it out you could write stuff about people that people could read. Now, my brother worked for me and my wife, and we sold Bakota, so he's like, now what? And so he made all the displays for a year, but then he came up with ProFlix, and then he went right to the skaters. I think, I don't know, man. Like, I'm surprised. Like, now he's just down in the basement, and like he's got John Cardiel, fucking ProFlix, Nate Bozong. Is that right? Like,
yeah.
I'm like, what? And then Transworld's like fucking ordered, I don't know how many to put with their magazines. So now I'm at ISPO in Germany for Bakota, and Transworld's walking around giving out magazines and ProFlix. I'm like, this is sick.
I can't even. But that is such a deep cut because I haven't thought about it since they came out. But like that was crazy. Like that was the era of like. You know,
like you needed to see. Like this wasn't ski. Like you needed to see the sequence shots. What a way! Like this is 40 shots. This is 40 pages of.
He just made that up out of his imagination. Like that was his thing.
I mean, a flip book, whatever, man. But his thing was he was the shape, the die cut, and the rivet.
Yeah.
So that you could fan it. And
that's so dope.
Because then you could actually you can write stuff. So Mark used to interview these guys. I think one of his questions on one of them was, your house is on fire. You can carry 5 things. What are they?
That's amazing.
Something like that.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Someone sent me a ProFlix book. Somebody's got like a stack of them somewhere.
Cardial. There's a documentary on Cardial.
Yeah.
I think I remember in there he says, and then the craziest thing, I think he says, some guy wanted to make a flip. This is after his accident. I didn't know about his accident.
Yeah.
And then some guy wanted to make a flip book on me.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was my brother.
That's amazing. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So that goes on for a couple of years.
So I quit, bro. Yeah. That was a big deal for me to quit Bakota to take over ProFlix, and there was a lot to do. And oh shit, Neil Wilson.
Wow.
Right off the wall, the Can-Ams.
Yeah.
He joined me as well, man.
Wow.
And okay, so my brother, because of Transworld, some French guy who distributed all the action sports videos.
Yeah.
Extreme sports videos, something like that.
Yeah.
He'd come to the shows, Mac Dog, how his video, like this guy got the rights to all these videos, did it for Europe. When he saw ProFlix, this is fucking awesome. He wanted it it's a flip book. Yeah. It's paper.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's 40 photos printed out. Hey, go do it yourself. But once I joined, I said this. We're not selling flip books. We're selling ProFlix. We're selling the brand.
Mm-hmm.
We're not selling... Because if we sell flip books, anyone can go make flip books. We got to have our name on every single flip book. So ProFlix was on everything. Then...
it's a good name, too, actually.
ProFlix. And then a movie... Matrix. The second Matrix. They ordered like 10,000.
What?
They wanted to give them out as people were coming out of the movie.
Wow.
And it's double-sided, by the way.
Yeah.
So you get 2, you flip it over and you get
flick that
so
way.
we did like Trinity on her motorbike, and we did one where a guy jumps in a car and it crushes.
I want that.
And it had a ProFlix down the side that big. So I was clear on this. We're selling a brand, not a flip book.
Right.
So the guy in France sees what Mark is doing with Transworld, and then he wants it. And we're like, we will license it to you.
Nice.
And it'll cost $25,000 just to sign the contract.
Mm-hmm.
And there's quarterly this is when me and Neil started to work out licensing agreements. Quarterly minimums. I don't care. Salespeople will tell you anything.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay. Actually, I'm not going to say I learned this from Jamie, but
I was going to say, this sounds like some Jamie shit right here. This sounds like some Jamie shit right now.
But listen, from my heart, but okay, so I mean, and again, this could be a story, but part of how Ride grew really fast is based on all the momentum, he'd get people to sign into future contracts. Now, if they didn't sell the amount, they want to cut back, it's like you already signed into it. So, but with licensing agreements, you can't let people just say, I'll do these numbers.
I can sell 10 million, right?
So then you know what I say? Great. Let's sign a contract where you pay minimum 5 million.
Right.
You say you can sell 10? Great. Let's say minimum 5. I let them talk first to see, and then I back that up and go, after this, like, you got to pay to here. And so then we licensed to England and then Spain and...
Wow.
Bro, and then Energizer batteries. Spider-Man came out, and they wanted to put Spider-Man 2, I think it was, in with every pack of energy. This is the gift you got with the bat. Oh, shit.
Oh, my God. It's so big. I had no idea ProFlix went that big.
Liverpool, Arsenal, Manchester United.
No way.
Our British partner.
Come on.
He got those 4 teams, man, and he did a ProFlix on... And he got with a magazine, so the magazine's giving them away. But then I sold, though. I hated it. I fucking hated it. I was selling printed paper.
Right.
My brother's idea.
Right.
I didn't realize how important it was for me to create.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
That's a big one.
Yeah. So I sold my shares to the guy in England. We had a nice house at the top of Mountain Highway from our. That's what we did. We bought a house. 10th house from the top of Mountain Highway, where everyone mountain bikes, man.
Wow, nice.
From our dream house. Sold that, separated from my wife, and then I went traveling, and I didn't work. But then I was incubating, and I had these different ideas. And one of them, I still love this fucking idea, sugar boogers.
What sugar boogers?
It's have you ever or seen a kid or done it yourself, not as an adult I hope, but pick your nose and then eat it?
Sure.
That's a sugar booger. So I had an idea to make a candy out of that.
What the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah, like a Pez, but
you pick the nose of the candy, and there's a thing in there that you get.
There could be some gummy. There could be some like crushed. Some boogers are hard.
Yeah.
Some are. That'd be different.
This is a good idea. It is a good idea.
I saw my kid do it, and I'm like, sugar boogers. Boogers. Then you just buy refills.
Yeah, that's it.
Of this press.
Yeah.
So I went to India. I did 10-day meditation retreat, and I zeroed out. I went back to zero, and then I let these ideas come up. And the Calvin tool came up at that time as well. And at that time I realized I'm born for function, not fashion.
Okay.
In business, I feel there's two types of business: the function or the fashion. A restaurant's all fashion, clothes all fashion. But function is where my brain is oriented, is towards how can I make this function better. I'm decent on branding, but like there are people that have shit products, but incredible branding.
Good branding,
so
right.
That's great fashion. This is a ratio. I'm like 51 function, 49 fashion. So I had the idea for Calvin, and I'm like, and I have these 3 other ideas, and I'm putting money into them, pushing them, and I'm like, function. I know people need a multi-tool to hang a picture, to put their IKEA furniture together.
Yeah.
To get behind their stereo system, or to I know people can use a Leatherman for the home, and so I just doubled down on the Calvin.
Yeah.
So it was like a year and a half. I feel like
showing it right now. It's right there on the thing.
Yeah. But that was a year and a half. I just took off, and then I doubled down.
Because it's basically, I just pulled it off the fridge, which is a great spot to have it, right? Because it's just right there.
Yeah.
It's got a measuring tape. This one's got 36 things. It's got like a hammer you can use. It's got a light.
You got the bottle opener.
You got a bottle opener.
But I snuck in also like the wine opener.
Yeah. And then there's like this light right here, and it's again you've got the key thing where it's flicking.
You didn't even flip up the. And then you got.
Oh wow!
In here, and I made this little X-Acto knife.
Oh shit!
That you can like that, but it's also as a bit. It fits in the end, so you can.
Oh, so you can turn it into.
You can put it in the end, so it's like a screwdriver bit as well.
Yeah, and this X-Acto knife bit you invented.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
See, that's this is what I'm talking about with you and your inventor brain. Is that this is actually fucking genius. This little one bit.
It's got the little fingertip if you just want to use it, right? Yeah.
This one thing is worth the whole tool, and is like the inventor's dream, is that you've got this on top of everything else. So my wife and I watched the Dragon's Den. It's got a level in it for hanging a picture. This is what she wants.
The 36, yeah. The Dragon's Den was 23.
Was it 23?
But this one, man, this is my boy.
It's killer. It's killer. And like they were saying on the show, this is just the first one. I want to be invested in you creating the next one. And
he
the
didn't
next
know
one,
that I had a
one.
camping tool already worked on.
Oh wow!
And
look at that.
Yeah, he didn't know this was already being worked on.
Right.
I'm like, I got so much more.
Right. He knows.
Let's go.
He knew that the genius of the first one was just the beginning of it. It wasn't the end of the line. The line
With
expanded
Calvin,
every year.
With Calvin, so before Dragons Den, like, do you want to, we'll talk about Calvin then, yeah. Then,
Let's do it, because this is the extension of the MacGyver tool, essentially.
It is. So I said the MacGyver started from a push button, snap open, and
yeah.
so the key with this, it starts there.
Yeah.
And then it becomes the tool. And then it's like, actually, I should have put the bottle opener in the first one because it was in the MacGyver driver.
Yeah.
And also, man, I got to say, I regret I should have snuck a pipe.
Yes, there's no pipe in the because Calvin's not smoking weed.
You know why? Because we're on QVC, like we're in Canadian Tire, we're in Home Depot.
Right.
We got kicked out of Zoomies because the news went, like, I don't know the details of that. I was backpacking, but Dan from Northwave, it's like, did you hear we're in the news? Like, and the headline was, snowboarder gets caught using. How's it? Snowboarder gets caught using a pipe as a binding tool, or something like that.
Oh wow, that's epic!
It came out that these tools you could smoke out of, and Zoomies
was like, we're a zero tolerance on drug shit.
Is like
right,
99, 2000, like something like that.
Yeah,
so,
of course.
So with the retailers I'm in, man, in those days, I'm like, if they find out that all you got to do is poke a hole and now it's a pipe.
That's what it was. You had to poke the hole. Remember, you had to poke the hole. That was a part
in the Jimmy driver, but not in the MacGyver. No,
right.
Like you look in it and you're like, what are all these holes for?
Yeah, because it's definitely a pipe. It's 100% a cool fucking pipe. Yeah, that's awesome. That was amazing.
So I zeroed it in on that, and I had money still left over, and I spent it all getting this going. And I applied for Dragon's Den Season 2 when I just had drawings.
Yep.
And I got rejected.
Yeah.
But I Dragon's Den isn't really for real businesses, but you can't wait that long. You can't.
No, of course.
So anyway, I kept going on it, and I got some traction in China. I went to China, and I started to get prototypes made. And I was still I met with a candy company for sugar boogers.
For real.
Yeah, bro. You know what? They were like, because I already had drawings and some branding. They're like, you can sell this? And I didn't have much money. Like, I don't know, molds. It's like, they said, if you get orders. Here's what I mean about different ways of financing.
Yeah, right.
If you have an order, for sure, we will make this. We will do this.
You just reminded me of something crazy, a kinship that we have across the years that I felt probably because you inspired me. There's a good chance that at one point I wanted to make, and we all know these, the smelling markers, they smell like different fruits. We've had them since we were kids.
Yeah.
I wanted to make the disgusting version of those. So,
of course,
red is blood, green is vomit, brown is shit, yellow is piss. Like, I was like, I already got them all. It's like the idea writes itself. I called the Bic Pen Company and talked to someone in product development, and they said, this is something we could probably do. What are your numbers? And then I got scared because I'm like, well, I don't have any orders or anything.
You shot too high.
I shot way too high.
Prototype first.
I shot way too high.
My brother with ProFlix, he'd go to the skate parks, and because he'd get down sometimes, he's like, I don't know. And the kids are like, oh, fucking, this is dope. He's like, that. Yeah, you gotta you gotta have your prototype mode, and then you go to Bic.
Right. I went all
Great
the way
idea.
To Bic. And
you know what? Some of those boogers I didn't say were gonna be like puke.
And some shit flavor ones.
They're not all sugar.
Kitty litter or something. Yeah. I have another one. This is my last one. I'll pitch you because I love this idea, and I've loved it for 20 fucking years. Inflatable tents. Where you have the floor is like thermarest, so you don't have to bring a fucking thermarest, and when you inflate it, that's inflatable poles. You don't need to bring any poles either, so you just like roll it up, and then you could foot pump it. Now you got the whole floor is soft, And the poles just
Bro,
inflate
this is an
themselves.
era of inflatable technologies. Like,
Dude,
like
bam.
not just like paddle boards. Like I'm seeing
Right.
people, because you get, like, structurally, you can have something this big that becomes something that big.
Huge, right.
And that's the key. From this,
Magnets. So inflatable tents with magnets where you have like a room now, click, it clicks to the next room. Now you make a little inflatable tent village with different rooms.
I
that
don't
you
know.
go
I
through,
don't think
like
you
a
need to
hamster
be,
thing.
right now. I don't think you need even magnets.
Yeah, it's true,
Like,
right?
I'm like, unless you want to drop a room divider down.
That's what I'm saying.
Something.
Yeah. Like magnet in a window on one wall. Click. Now you got a fucking window instead of a.
And
instead of a
also,
flap.
the air as a pocket has to have a high insulating value.
That's
Now
right.
you got to think about
yeah.
you got to think about vapor.
Right.
but
Moisture barrier. Right. So
like
it
that's
has to
built
be.
in.
Yeah. It has to be. It has to vent.
Yeah.
Right. And then you could have solar panels on the roof that run little fans for constantly moving airflow out of these things
Well, so
that are built into the walls. Blick.
no, hold
Yep.
on. See, now I see how my brain works. So you start with that product
Yep.
and concept, and then you go. There's going to be at least 3 versions,
Right.
3 price points.
Right.
Right. So now you're already working your way up price points.
Yeah.
With solar panel, but
Yeah,
work your way back down.
The
Okay,
most basic
what's
is
the
just
string leash?
Yeah. Right.
And then what's the
right.
You know,
What's the coil leash?
this
and what's
applies.
the locking leash?
It's
right.
like you're going to come into this category, come in with a line that hits at least
Bam,
3 different
bam,
price points.
Bam. Yeah, that's great.
And then have a technology that you own that applies through all 3. That you're like, this is the base, so I know the business I'm in.
Right.
And that's another key question. What business am I in? You know, like with printers, for example, there was a time HP and Epson, and like they're in the printer business.
Yep.
Then someone sat down at a meeting and said, what if we were in the ink business?
Right.
Like, what would that look like? Fuck, man. Gillette did it. What if we're in the cartridge business?
Right.
Not the... Then you give your handles away for free. You give your printers away for $50.
Nothing. Yeah.
Because you're in the ink business.
Because you got that ink replacement system going.
Just something to
People
keep
are
in
buying
mind, because like once you go, okay, yeah, I'm here with everyone else. I have a coffee shop, but what business am I really in?
Right.
I'm really in like social gathering business. Or I'm really in a... So with that, bro, that's a great idea.
Thank you.
I can see that.
Somebody's already developing it somewhere.
Don't
They
you see,
have to
this
be.
is the common thing,
Right.
right? Like, see, this is not how my brain works. I'll get an idea like that. Okay, like maybe if it's right here. Yes, it is. So COVID and hand sanitizer.
Right.
Now, what I realize, if you look at my nails, I can fucking rub my hands all day and I'm not cleaning under my nails.
Yes.
So, here's a prototype I made where this is the lid of a hand sanitizer.
No way.
This is 3D printed.
Right.
Then I went to the dollar store and bought toothbrushes and
Nice.
pulled out bristles to make a prototype, because I'm playing with an idea of a scrub brush in the... I applied for a patent on that, and
That's amazing.
I approached...
Dude, you are a fucking... You'd say you're not a smart guy. You are the genius that comes up with this kind of shit. Dude, this is fucking... And you made one. That's incredible.
And I approached... No, I went way past that, man.
Yeah.
I've got like a website. I approached Purell. I approached
Come
like 4 of the biggest...
on.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
But the time it took me to get my patent written and then figure out the prototypes, because first I wanted to injection mold bristles.
Yeah.
And so I went through that process, and I'm just getting paid COVID money. Like, COVID money allowed me to sit at Kate's Park and deep going around and work on this. I'm in Spanish Banks fucking with it. I still have a bunch of toothbrushes left, because I'm like, how can I get bristles? And then I had to get this 3D printed, and then how do I get these bristles in those fucking holes? And yeah, that's kind of... When I do a project, that took a year to be nothing. I had
nothing, right.
I had a grinder. You grind weed.
Yeah.
and then so now you have all your weed ground, and then there's a pull tab, so you pull the tab and close it, and then you screw off the bottom, and it's a pipe.
It's perfect.
Man, I spent at least 10, 15 grand on that with some engineer out of Serbia and shit.
Oh wow.
And I made 3D printed prototypes. Drop that one.
Do you think that weed made you more creative? Because it makes me creative when I smoke some weed.
Jack Herrera.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, like some serious sativa shit where you're like thinking about outer space. It's totally
before
legal
I left
now.
Hamilton,
Yeah.
I said to my girl, she laughed at me. I'm like, you watch, weed's going to become legal in our lifetime.
Mm-hmm.
And she laughed at me.
Yeah.
And it did.
It did.
You know, and my kids, listen, man, I started smoking weed. I have 2 sons, maybe 10, 11 years old. Like part of what I'm not saying, hey, smoke weed. What I'm saying is, we're not letting the world tell us what is, I guess legal or not legal, but really they're trying to say what's right and not right. And I'm like, you don't get to tell me what's right and not right. And especially when you people who talk like you're right and clean are sitting around and going to the shows and enjoying all the entertainment that come from people who are altering how they play with their perception of the world to create some things for people. Not all my stuff has come from weed, but
right.
There was a point where smoke weed every day.
Yeah.
I have to test these products, man, and then I got to go get my kids at school at 3:00. You know, like it's just. Yeah, I mean, it maybe. Yeah.
I know some people who are high functioning entrepreneurs and business people.
I'm high all day, every day.
That were high all day, every day.
Yeah.
That, you know,
I've taken a 2-week break, and I just hung out with my kids and my brother,
mm-hmm.
and I hit the bong for the first time. Holy
Bam.
fuck.
Yeah. Yeah, I read a Dr. Andrew Weil book about drugs.
Oh, yeah.
That dude knows what he's talking about.
Santa Claus.
And he said, marijuana, best practice, day on, day off, because it takes 24 hours for the THC to get out of your system.
Practice, man. Listen, honestly, it's like a type of habit. Like I'm not trying to optimize like my high.
Right,
and,
right.
It's just like, but I don't want to be into couch, you know, with indicas, and because I got work to do.
Right.
And I feel like I'm up to shit, even though I don't have to be up to anything.
Right.
Like I don't know why. It's like I'm literally working on some type of portable power generator for villages.
Sick.
Yeah, like things like that are in my head. Like I tried to.
Yeah, you should be linked up with this guy that I met down at Bear Valley.
No, I can't be linked up with anybody.
Well, he's the Surfers for Water. I forget what it's called, but everywhere he goes now, he brings small water filtration systems. Gets a local 50-gallon pail. Bucket,
yeah,
and he makes
shit, man.
Clean water everywhere he goes,
killing people
and
microbes just in the
so
water.
He's got clean water infrastructure that, like, it all started from like a big earthquake, and he was surfing somewhere. There was a huge earthquake, and they weren't getting water, and he's like, "Holy fuck! Well, what about these cheap filters?" And then he realized that no one else is solving this problem. It's a huge problem. So, like, same deal with power generation. If you could use the technology that we have over here, that's so fucking cheap.
And like simplified versions of it. Like it doesn't have to be like all these like literally my first prototypes was made like with a bike wheel.
Yep.
And a pedal, because
that's it.
I'm like trying to get a flywheel going.
Yep.
But there's a lot of things in my mind. Like I have to keep myself focused.
Waves for Water is the name of the operation. And
nice.
what happens is, for him, he was doing it, and then other people like, could we do it too? And so he published it.
His
Like,
system, like how.
Yeah,
how
so
he
it's
thinks.
like, oh, you're going traveling. Say you're going traveling to Guatemala to get waves because there's good waves there, but you're kind of like feeling a little bad that you're not leaving it better than you found it. Well, you can order his package, and when you go for your 2-week vacation, you also drop off at a village that they already have identified as needs a water infrastructure situation, and then you just take a cab there, drop the thing off, go for your surf, and while you're taking your holiday, you're also doing something fucking epically good. So it's kind of a cool way to do it, right? Like open source.
Bro, I thought I could change the world. I spent 6 weeks in the Philippines with a microfinance institute going to, like, their mandate was we serve the poorest of the poor. So some of the villages we had to go to are like, you take a bus to here and then a boat to there, like 4 hours. They stay. 8 billion people on the planet, man, like 4 or 5 don't even have banking. They don't have ATMs. So this is a type of... So with Calvin, at a point with Calvin, I'm like, I'm not in this to make money. I'm a generator. So I'm like, I found this website called Kiva where you can make microloans of $25 to these women around the world. And I started making microloans. I'm like, this woman needs $200 for fishing nets, and she's got, the minimum's 25, she's got like 175. I'm like, boom, I'm going to loan her $25. These are loans. This isn't charity. And then I make another loan. Like, pretty soon I'm up to like 120 loans. And then they pay back, and then you make another. And because you move your money, I'm going to help this woman. I'm going to help this person, that person. So I thought, for me, the best way to help the world is by helping entrepreneurs and like people with the spark. And this website, Kiva, here's all these women. She needs... For her pigs, she needs medicine. She needs fabric for her. She needs a freezer. I'm like, 25.
Sick.
So then after I sold Calvin to Neil Wilson. Fucking Neil, man, he's all through it. But Neil, like, bought Calvin and everything, and so I had some money. And I took my kids to my sons were like 17, 18. I'm like, here's the deal. I was a single dad at that point, which, as a black man, I got to say, fucking, like, I thought genetically, honestly, man. And so I'm a single dad, but I'm a terrible dad. And I'm like, I'm kicking you out. This is what we're going to do. We're going to put all the furniture in storage, and it's yours. You get the bedroom stuff, you get the... And you got to go find your own place. But first, we're going to Thailand. We went for 5 months, and got motorbikes and shit, and got tattoos, and smoked so much weed everywhere, bro. And actually, my son Nathan, he's like, Dad, we're in Bangkok on a patio. We had 2 joints left before flying out. I'm like, Nate, we gotta smoke these. Like, I to this day, I don't know how illegal weed was then. But I did hear people being executed in Indonesia. So, yes. Yeah, right? So, but I don't connect the dots. I've taken mushrooms, ecstasy, weed, into...
Oh, fuck.
Actually, me and Nate got busted for weed in Mexico. And he's only 14 at the time, and I'm like, Nate, all right, let me show you how to bribe a cop.
Oh, man.
Not in a hood way.
No.
I'm like, we're travelers. They have guns. We have weed. They don't fucking care. They just want money, and they can't speak
cash.
well.
Yeah.
Let's hop in the car.
Yeah.
And let's have some fun. Like in India, when I got pulled over, I'm like, do I got the money in the right pocket? Like, I'm like, I'm getting bribed by a cop. Like, but it gets boring. Like, then finally in Thailand, the cop, I'm like, how much? Like, I have a certain fines. Like, how here? But where was I on that? Like, oh, okay. So Bakota's sold
Thailand,
but then I go to travel. To get back to this, bro. I don't know how to help the world anymore because honestly,
yes, that's where
I was there for 6 weeks, and I filmed it all. And I came out of there, feeling like a guilty Western person. Actually, yeah, like, you know, like Westerners feel guilty what we're doing to the men. Holy fuck, these women were well off. They had 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 different businesses in these villages. That piggery's mine. That rice field is mine. That food stall is mine. The delivery truck is mine. I have a stall of vegetables in there. You know, they eat the bullet, the eggs.
The eggs, yeah.
Yeah. So all those ducks are mine. And 33. I got this woman. She's counting. I'm like, what about those motorcycles there? Because they're like hot dog carts for bullet. She's like, oh yeah, they're all mine. How many? I think 33. Holy fuck, she doesn't even know. And I'm like, what am I doing? $25. I'm gonna sit. Plus, I found out that woman got her money a month ago.
Yeah.
They just put her online. I'm like, what game are we being fed?
Oh,
I don't
wow.
know how to change the world, man. And when I went, I'm like, they are so fine. And I also found out some of them have an economy of Western people.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's an economy of guilt.
Yeah.
So, bro, I was trying to use I was saying with Calvin on my website, if you bought it online, I made it so you can $25.
Yeah.
$5 was you get to pick. I connected it to Kiva so you could pick who you could loan money to.
So, but then you found in the end that the Kiva
there.
thing was just
it's
like any nonprofit. Sorry, not any nonprofit.
I don't want to say that. I want to say that we don't really know how to change the world. If you want to know, you got to really go there and do it. So I met with 5 women. I'm like, I'm going to start my own microloan thing.
Yeah.
And I'm like, it's getting ready to, forget the amount. It probably would have been $100 each.
Sure.
But I just sold my company. I'm like, I got money. I'm going to change the world, man.
Yeah.
I'm meeting with them. And then I'm like, how do I get repaid? And I'm like thinking, well, what if we can do, like then at the beginning, what if we can do like through the telephone?
Sure.
So I actually met with a phone company in the Philippines is there a way to transfer money? I was getting ready to be my own microfinance type of thing. And then I'm like, they don't need me at all. And they already have a whole system set up. And not only that, these kids are running around with no fucking shoes, having the time of their life.
Right.
They're not inside.
Yeah.
Like playing video games and stuff.
On their phones.
And this woman with 10 companies, I'm like, where are your kids? Oh, I sent them to university. What's he studying? Business.
Yeah.
He should be here studying you.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
There's such this pull to this Western lifestyle. And that's when I started to get more pull to the more life of simplicity and like where I can see real joy and happiness. And it just turned me off trying to change the world at all, man. It ain't my business. And if it is, I'm going to make it my business. Then I'm going to go and really get into that. But that's a bit of a side. That's where I ended with Calvin, the Dragon's Den.
I just watched it with my wife today, and I gotta say, those shows are addicting. They're really, like, you can watch like 20 episodes in a row because they're really fun to watch.
Yeah, they edit them.
They edit them great with the music and everything. But your episode was especially, and I'm gonna link to it in the show so people can go watch it. It was especially an anomaly. I think the name of it is "You're the Most Legit."
Oh, like the title?
The title of it is like "You're the Most Legit."
The best business ever.
Business ever. That like it's
Something
like
that, yeah.
and it, so they do create the tension with the like.
And now Shark Tank is. It's not just Dragon. Like I've seen that. It's part of. Yeah. That was best and legitimately, man. Holy shit, man. That was tense because Robert, who said that. Right after that, he says, "But then I'm out."
I'm out, right?
But then more happens, right? Like, holy fuck,
it's intense.
I gotta say, man, that was filmed on a Friday afternoon.
Yep.
In May, that was season 4. And I gotta say, man, of all the shit I'd been through, like out of money, holes in my shoes in Shanghai, like pleading with the guy that I partnered with, that's now. Getting shady on me, and that was the best day of my life. That was like, when you put everything on the line for so fucking long.
Yeah.
And I'm not into Dragon's Den TV, but like entrepreneurship wise, I remember before Dragon's Den was a TV. See, this is the thing, man. I'm a black kid from Jane and Finch, but Sundays, you got Wide World of Sports, Mutual of Omaha's Wild Kingdom. You got your Disney, but there was a show called Venture, and I'd always watch that show, Venture.
Wow.
And so that's before I'm 14. So like I'm 12. This is after all the cool shit. I'd always watch Venture, and turns out Venture became Dragon's Den. Like the producer of Venture is the producer of Dragon's Den, and so I really feel if there's any kind of inventor entrepreneur in me, it's genetic, and I've been sort of magnetically pulled in a sense. And then I applied for season 2. I auditioned, and I got rejected because I just had like nice drawings. But season 4, I had prototypes. I had a factory now in China. I had a relationship. I was living in China because of that. Like I had an apartment there. I was there like 3 months, home for a few weeks, and back and forth. Fucking frustrating, man, working with Chinese factories. But then we got our first customer, Kohl's, but our first real customer is QVC, the home shopping channel in America.
Yeah.
And I was like, what? Like, and then Canadian, and then, so then I auditioned, and I had QVC, and I'm trying to get Canadian Tire, but once I auditioned, then I go back to Canadian Tire, and I'm like, Dragon's Den's thinking about it, and with Dragon's Den, I'm like, Canadian Tire's thinking about it.
Yeah.
And then Canadian Tire comes through and goes, okay, like 2 weeks before filming, they're like, okay, but can we get exclusive for this season?
Wow.
And I'm like, hell yeah. I went on, they didn't show it, but I went on Dragon's Den with Canadian Tire and QVC. But the craziest thing, Thursday, QVC sends their second purchase order. Their first order was 4,000 units. They sold close to 5,000 in 10 minutes at 5 in the morning, Eastern time. They oversold. So the timing is crazy. I'm about to film, and we get the second PO. Now, in a company, you want to see the sales growth. 4,000, 32,000. Canadian Tire, QVC. That's what I walked on. They didn't show any of that.
Right.
So, holy shit. We only sold $250,000 of sales, and then I get a percentage of profit. But I asked for $200,000 for 10. I'm worth $2 million. And the night before, I was going to ask for a $750,000. I was like, I don't even know. Like,
that's amazing. Well, you are brilliant on there, and you go back and you check with your partners,
with
your
Lynn,
wife,
yeah.
and somebody else is there. Was it a producer? Or something?
Yeah. Okay. So right, that's Spencer from England. So Spencer. Oh, dude, I forgot. That's right. He got us distribution in the UK as well.
Oh, nice.
Through a gadget company.
Yep.
Like we're in countries I couldn't read the language of the website. It's like, I don't know, Czech or something, because these guys. No. I had momentum going. But fuck, it took everything, man. It took
was
all my
cool
money.
because you went back to them. They gave you a badass offer.
Dude,
and
I should have taken
back
it.
to them.
I asked for 210%. So then one guy, Boston Pizza guy, Jim, says, I'll do it.
Yeah.
That doesn't happen, man. It's like, I'll do it, but I want more.
Yeah.
Arlene's like, I want in on it. And he's like, it's 10%, man. Now I have both of them. And now I'm getting a bit confused because I didn't. Kevin O'Leary already attacked me early. And by that time, he left the set.
Yeah.
Brett Wilson, who I ended up doing the deal with, he's just like, he knew, man. He's like, these guys aren't going to do it. And then Robert wanted in as well. So I went to the back once for them to talk, but they didn't show that. And I come out. Then they offered me $400,000 for 25%. Now
just twice what you were asking for 2.5 times what you were offering.
Yeah. That's a good deal.
Yeah.
You know?
But you went back and you've cooked a better deal.
Yeah, man. My wife's like, I think you can get more. And also, I just saw their energy there.
Yeah, it
And-
wasn't like nobody was pumping the brakes.
And
Everybody was
there's
full
no
speed
ego
ahead.
too. I'm
Yeah,
like, I
yeah.
have legit purchase orders in hand. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not kidding about like that order, 32,000 times like that was $320,000 order.
Right.
Right. So
one order.
one order. I'm
And
like,
they already sold out 5,000 in 20 minutes and
Yeah.
5 minutes at 5 in the morning. Like, it's like, this shit's going to go off.
I can't wait to get on again.
Yeah,
you know? Like,
yeah. This shit's going to go off. That's amazing.
But
Yeah.
so I come out there and man, I'm stammering, right? I'm like, thank you very much. This is a lonely road, like this, and I'm stammering along, and but then I have to collect myself, and I'm like, so the offer I'd counter back with is 25% for $500,000.
Yep.
And then Arlene's like, ooh, sassy.
Yeah, I like that it was sassy. It was, because it was like, at most people would have just jumped at the 400 and just been like, damn, this is better than what we were hoping. It's twice as much money to play with. Like, we're fucking stoked.
Yeah.
Losing part of the company, whatever. It's between 3 people.
Oh, bro,
Right.
I'm the only episode that had 6 dragons.
Oh, yeah, because they brought in...
Debbie Travis.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know about the format now, but
I don't know.
Dragon's Den all around the world is 5 dragons.
Right.
On
right.
my episode, they had celebrity dragons.
That's right. That's
so
nuts.
I had 3 dragons plus Debbie Travis saying she'll do infomercials.
That
and
was
shit.
nuts.
It's
It was
crazy.
nuts. It was so positive. But also the fact that my wife's watching, she's like, I want that. Right? Like, it's like,
yeah.
It's like, so they know what they're
Neil
sitting
Wilson.
on. Yeah.
Neil Wilson.
Neil Wilson.
Bro. His wife, my wife.
Yeah. That's the shit, dude. It's the energy's
Yeah.
so good. Kevin, okay,
Yeah.
let's pivot here. There's a couple things I'd love to talk about. Number one,
Can I grab another beer?
yeah, grab another beer.
Yeah.
I would like to talk about being a black man in the space of snowboarding, especially around, I grew up in the Ontario whiteness. I had the token black friend, He wasn't a
What was his
token.
name?
Dale Simmons. He
Yeah.
he used to snowboard with us, and he's like, black men aren't supposed to be out here in the snow, man. I'm supposed to be in the sun.
Black men are supposed to swim.
Yeah.
And you know what? I joined swim team for some reason, and I couldn't complete a fucking practice. There's no way the coach even wanted me there. And then we went to our first swim meet at McMaster, and I didn't even know how to do a flip turn, and I won that race.
What? Oh,
And I'm like,
that's so badass.
So yeah, what does it mean to be black?
Yeah, man. So I think you mentioned that you listened to the Plug podcast. That I just reached out to Russell because the Black Lives Matter thing happens, George Floyd happens, and people are posting all over Instagram, like, elevate melanated voices. And I'm like, well, fuck, I know Russell, and I know he likes to talk. I should have him do the show. So I called him. He said no.
I thought, what?
He said no way. And I was like, fuck. Like, just like that
Wait,
white guy
did you-
calling you to be like, hey, you're black. Like, why don't you help me learn about racism? And he was like, dude, I don't want to do that. And then I said,
but I don't feel you're like that because you have a platform.
right. I just was saying, I want to
Yeah.
give you my platform. I just want to hand it over to you. I'll do all the back end. Then he said, cool. Okay, if you do all the back end, that's
the
fine.
black
with me.
end, yeah.
Oh, the black end.
Yeah.
If you do
know
all
what?
the,
I thought
yeah,
you were going to
yeah.
call me Kevin Blackota. Yo, Blackota, what's up?
He was like, sure, I'll do it. And I was like, it'll be fun, man.
It was a tough topic to cover.
It was insane for me because I'm sitting there trying to audio engineer. I had a really crappy way of plugging into my thing, so I had 2 phone calls that were coming in from opposite sides of the world.
You're trying to
And
balance that out.
and then sometimes they would like be saying like real shit about white people, and then they would have to say like, but not Eric. But I'd be like, you don't have to not Eric me, man. I'm learning because nobody's ever been generous enough with me to let me know
It's
what
I
the
think
shit
is brave
really happening.
for any white person to sit with any black person and what is black. Like maybe we'll talk about that in a second, but to sit and try and have some space. So because like you're from the outside. Like I was invited. I created some entrepreneurship type program for schools, and then I was invited to 2 Native communities, one in Sault Ste. Marie. The government flew me out there because I'm talking entrepreneurship, start your own stuff. Like here's how to build. And I'm like, I gotta watch as many videos on Natives. But you know what? When I got in front of them, I was just like, look, man, I'm a good guy. I don't know what's all the lingo. Like, I don't know what's right. Or if I say some shit that's out of line, let me know. But please pay more attention to my intention than the words, which may be changing on us. And that's a big thing for me, is like people's intention.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah. Also, when you're on the outside of something, there's a kind of nervousness about it. Like I've noticed just something as simple as when I was young and it's super dark outside, people would say, man, it's pitch black out here. Even I met an Irish guy. He's like, yeah, it was pitch black. But I've noticed people don't say that anymore. They say pitch dark. So yeah, like almost like it's afraid to say the word black, but they're not. That's weird. They're not afraid to say Black Friday and keep like promoting Black Friday. But someone can't say, yeah, my friend's gonna be here soon. He's 6 feet tall and he's got curly hair.
Yeah.
And dark skin.
I was doing.
Is he black?
I was doing.
I mean, his skin's really dark. Listen,
are
have you heard the Chris Rock his thing like, who's more racist? White people or black people? Have you heard that one?
I've definitely heard it.
Yeah.
Definitely heard it.
Listen, man, Dear White People. By the way, there is a series called Dear White People.
There is, yes.
First of all, I don't consider myself black. I'm a human being. I'm in a black body. I was born in Toronto. I'm Canadian. I don't... I think the world tells me that I'm black. Black guys nod at me. A girl laughed at the size of my dick. She's like, are you kidding? She's like, you're only half black. The world tells me I'm black. I don't operate from a place of blackness. Although I grew up, even where I grew up in Jane and Finch, we were all just poor people. There's whites, a lot of brown people with the last name Patel. I remember in the apartment buildings, man, there's a lot of Patels in this building. We were just a lot of poor people. We didn't even think about that. My dad's Jamaican. He's around every now and then. My best friend, like mom, dad's Jamaican. She's Scottish. My mom's British. Like, we're just like poor ghetto kids, man. Like, we're Canadians, though. That's why, like, I don't have the same experience as like Southern blacks where you might grow up. Now, it's interesting. Russell is like grew up with the Bushes. Like I he had 2 parents, I'm guessing. Sal, oh God, I'm gonna tell you quickly how I met Sal. It was at Big Sky, Montana.
Sick.
And he's the third black guy, because the first 2 black guys were at Jay Peak in Vermont. And I'm like, black guys, dude, this is how lame I fucking am. When I say I'm a loser, this is it. This is fucking it. The first 2 black guys I meet at Jay Peak, and I have leashes in the car, and me and Chetty, it's like, hey, there's black guys here. I'm like, what? No way. So we sort of slow ourselves down so we can catch up, and then they're like another black guy, and then I'm like, yeah, I make leashes, and I go and I get some, and I give him the leashes, and the guy's like, dude, this is fat. I'm like, I've got skinnier ones if you want. Like, no, bro, that's how like non-black, like I'm just a guy, right? Like,
yep.
But listen, to be half black is not easy. It was definitely identity crisis, especially Canadian, especially well-spoken, and like there is an identity crisis early on. But I didn't pay attention because you live through just how you are in your soul, and also too, maybe in retrospect, I think people see your energy and your actions beyond your color. So as I've gone through in life, I've never felt racism. I've felt assholes, but I've done business all over the world in my hoodie, and like loose jeans. So a couple things, man. I'll say, A, the problem isn't racism. I'll say everyone's a fucking racist, you fuckers. You're talking to me about racism, and I listen to you just talk about another human being that way. Hate is hate, any way you aim it. I'm better than you is fucking elitism, anywhere you aim it. It's groupism. It's not racism. I think we're being played out on this racism branch of the tree because the problem is way fucking bigger. I'll go back to snowboarding. When we started building our parks, so we had like a bus at Kissing Bridge. They somehow pulled in there, and rails and shit. And we saw a skier go through. I remember being on the lift with Jimmy, and he's yelling at the skiers, "Get out of our fucking park!" Look, as far as I'm concerned, that's racism. It's groupism.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now we come to race, and now I don't feel I've had a issue there. I've never looked at it. I just saw assholes. People were never in my way. And I think because I created things that people liked, even if you're like, you looked at me and you had doubt, then there's my energy, and then there's the, you did, then bro, there's only one color, and that's green.
Right.
I can make money from this shit.
So how did you deal with your identity when you had kids? Because that's where it really is important, I think. Like for me,
my kids definitely want to be black. Like they're not proud that they're half British. They're not. I mean, there's Filipino pride for Pinoy pride.
Yeah.
But my one son Nate, he likes his black lip. He doesn't look black, but my kids don't look black. Like but he's got black lips, and and there's something. Listen, man, I've been owning it. I gotta say, I've been in my little hermit cave in my RV for 7 years. I've left all that world, so I've done a lot of reflecting, and I listen to Keir. I listen to Russell. I feel like, man, people say shit sometimes to me, and Keir, not to Russell, but I can listen to Keir, and he'd know it too. It's like, oh, you sound so well educated. You ask Keir if he's ever heard that. You're so well spoken. Or surprised that you have a dad.
It's like a microaggression. Like
I don't
or
see
a
it as
maximum.
I don't know, bro. I don't look at it that way. My brother does. I'm an ambassador. They're seeing a black person they can speak to. They're not afraid of. You're so well spoken. Well, you sound well educated. Well, fuck. Listen, I'll say this. I'm Canadian. If I sound like this, it's because I grew up in Toronto with Canadians in my neighborhood. I wasn't trying to speak like I come from Chicago or Compton, although snowboarding gets you into like, yo, dude, rad, like I'm stoked, like
totally,
so you get some language from that culture, but overall you're gonna meet a Canadian person, or you're gonna hear one and then you meet them and you're like, oh, you're black. It's like, and then maybe if there's respect that's come from the business world, it's because I can create shit that makes you money, and I think even Republicans at some level are not racist. They're like, make fucking money and you're good.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like
of course,
this is about performance. Like, let's keep our line, our system, and let's make money. Like, there's order and chaos, and liberals over in the chaos, and on the order side. So I've had issues with my blackness for a while. Like Neil will even tell you that I think I said one time, I can't hang out with you guys because you're all white. I got to start getting some black friends. But man, I didn't even know that I just was with white people. And I did gymnastics and swimming, snowboarding. Although we won the city championships in Edmonton, fucker, I got interception that game.
Nice.
Baseball city championships, gymnastics provincial championships. Like, I met Sluggo that way, by the way. He was a gymnast.
Oh yeah. Still is, yeah.
So I hadn't thought about my blackness And also the world I hadn't been called nigger or anything. Like, I haven't. And when those guys talk about being pulled over by cops, the cops knew our fucking name. You know, like, of course they pulled, but they didn't do anything on. Now my brother got beat the fuck out of. Like, he got the telephone book kind of beating.
Oof.
And, you know, but he was a full-on criminal, you know, and crackhead. And that's another thing, man. I think the cop with George Floyd, I think he knew him, man. Like, that's the thing. Like,
Yeah,
like,
I
that's
think
another
it has
thing.
come out they knew
Like,
each other.
they've worked together and shit. Like,
yeah.
Listen, I don't know what the Americans go through. That's one thing. Now, the other thing, because of that, twice. Okay, here's my 3 incidences with cops. Like, because after Rodney King too, I was like, fuck you, really? So one time in Vancouver, after clubbing, I'm going to my car. No, I'll tell the other story first. It's a Monday night. I have an Audi. I'm driving an Audi wagon. So now I've gone up from the Jetta.
Yeah.
And I'm like, out with my bro. He's a white guy, and we smoke weed all the time, man. Like, I got weed in my pockets. We had a few beers. I'm not drunk. We're driving down Main Street around Main and Hastings. I'm gonna take Hastings to come out towards North Van. I see the cop at the red light. I'm an instigator. I pull up beside him instead of behind him. And it's the hoodie shit and stuff. And then goes green. He stays. I go. Now I want to turn right. I do everything precise. I signal. I go into the right lane. Signal. I turn right. Now I'm going along Hastings. And I'll tell you this. This is the difference between Canadians and Americans. Listening to Russell and Sal, when those lights came on the cop car, I was like this. I'm like, let's go. Those guys in America are like, oh fuck. Sal's like, hands at 10 and 2. I'm like, let's fucking go. Did you just pull me over? Dude, I was out of the car. They had their hands on their gun as they're coming up, and I'm demanding, what did you pull me over for? And don't forget, I've been drinking as well. But I'm not drunk, but you can smell it. And the guy asked for my license and registration, and I'm like, you show me. And no, I go, why'd you pull me over? It's like, we have a report the car's stolen. My car is stolen? I'm like, you show me that report. And I don't have shit to go on, bro. I'm just like going on probable cause. Like, I don't think they have probable cause.
No, obviously
so
not.
I'm like, you show me the report, and then I'll show you my license and registration. And then he says something like, our computer's down, like, but my fucking friend gets it out of my glove box and comes out and gives it to him. Now he goes to check it. Now the other cop's there talking to me, and I'm like, I thought the computer's down. He's like, yeah. And he goes, have you been drinking? And this is the moment, right? And now there I could have been fucked up.
Yeah.
I was just like, nope. So, are you sure? I'm like, yep. And I've got 2 joints in my pocket here. Anyway, it's my fucking car. He comes back. I'm like, give me that shit. I'm like, you guys, are you kidding me? You see a black man driving an Audi and are you fucking kidding me? Are you for real? Give me my shit. He's like, wait, one last thing. What color's the car? It's a white car. But it's not white. It's pearlescent.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So it says pearlescent on there. One last thing. What color? I'm like, fuck you. Now I tried it in Seattle.
Oof.
And man, they fucking ran that car door open on me. And next thing I'm screaming, I'm like, help, help. Like, they had me on the front of the car.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah. And
it's
so
a different deal.
It's
right.
a different deal. But the only time I've ever been afraid of cops is in that Jetta coming back from North Wave, because I'd go down every Tuesday morning to work Tuesday, Wednesday, and I'd drive back Thursday nights. And driving back at 10 o'clock at night, you just want to get the fuck home. And after Bellingham, I just hammered it. 240, 260, maybe.
Fuck.
And it might have been Jimmy who said to me one time, he's had flashing lights behind him, but he just made some turns. He's like, man, they didn't see the car. And I let my foot off the gas, and but I'm still passing cars. I'm going so fast. The lights are a mile behind me. It's a straight run. I'm like, but I've already given up. But I'm like, Blaine is like, I'm almost at the border. And that's when it hit me. I'm in America. I think the speed is illegal.
They'll take your car. They'll take your license
but it's
right there.
10:30, 10 o'clock at night, and I'm black.
Right.
What do you mean? I don't know what they'll take.
Right.
That's the only time
Yeah.
I was afraid. I don't know what they'll take at night. So, man, I remember sliding off the fucking... I had to get off the highway, and I was petrified to get to the... I expected, like, all these cop cars.
Right.
I've never driven like that since. But the only time I've been afraid is in the States. And in Canada, okay, I tried to when at the start of Dakota, cross the border, and I've never been refused because we used to go snowboarding all the time. I'm like, I couldn't believe. You're refusing me? And it's like a black woman and this other guy, and I'm like, there's no fucking way. Like, I almost got in the car, like, you can't, like, what? You can't park there. Yeah, whatever. Dude, guns came out, and they're like, you can't, like, my brother's like, please, Kevin, get in the car. But I've never had my rights violated like that before. So
right.
That experience, and then the fear, because I don't know what would have happened in that driving.
Yeah.
That's one thing, man, to keep in mind. It's not the same here. I lived with my dad for 6 months in Dade County, Miami. Everyone's got bars on their doors. I watched a woman in a car, standing in my dad's door. This dude's trying to, like, this woman's chasing him, and it just happened to stop in front of our door. But she's fucking got a gun in her hand, like shooting at the guy who's hiding behind the car. And I'm standing like here. And she looks over and sees me and my dad, and it's like, it's like 8 a.m. She's like, I gotta go to work. I just want to scare that nigga anyway. And he comes over laughing, going, I didn't come home last night. Yeah, my second year, Dakota.
That's psycho.
There's helicopters flying around down there. This is funny as hell now, man. I thought they were trying to catch me as an illegal immigrant.
No.
I didn't know that they're like trying to follow like criminals that have just done like.
Yeah.
That's how naive I am. So it's something really important to remember. It's not the same experience up here
in Canada.
In Canada.
Right. I felt like we respected our minorities, BIPOC members in
dude,
school.
Stop talking like that. Okay, let me talk. Say, please.
Yeah.
Don't talk like that, man.
Okay.
You grew up with black people and shit. Like, this is what's happened. It's made white people afraid. All of us. Like, we don't even know how to speak anymore.
It's true.
We don't know what words to use.
Right.
I'm saying, man, listen, even if you make mistakes, intention is first. I don't even know what the fuck you mean, BIPOC. And
right.
Shit.
Like, thank you.
We all grew up together, and now the world's trying to make us confused. And I'll say this. Any group that thinks it's better than any other group, that's the problem. Call it groupism. Call it tribalism. So I'm not even distracted by the racism thing. I've never seen the George Floyd incident.
Right.
I'm not getting distracted by it. By the way, most of us blacks, it's like, fuck, if you don't know, now you know. You know how long this shit's been going on?
Yeah. You
know about the washing machine cycle trips? Where they fucking handcuff people. It's like, we're taking you back to the police station. People they open those doors and there's dead people inside.
Oh.
Right? So, like, man, and the other thing is, don't even try to know because you can't know. There's so much to know.
Right.
There is so much that we end up getting upset over the wrong. Be careful. Be upset.
Yeah.
But don't let other people say this is the thing to be. It's like, okay, if I'm going to be upset about a topic, let me look into it.
Right.
But I'm not going to let you tell me this news cycle.
That's it. I think the biggest lesson I learned, and I said it to you just here, like calling Russell out of the blue was actually the wrong thing to do. The right thing to do is to do my work first. And I owe that knowledge to my wife because she grew up on the res and she just saw this going on around her. And so she's done her work. So I've done like a step or two, right? And the step or two is the same as anything. You want to learn about how to fix the fucking sticky latch on the back of your car? You Google it, you watch the YouTube video, and now you do that. If you want to learn about how to fucking be less racist around your friends, or how to just like not make your friends uncomfortable, then Google the shit and then read the books and do the work on your own.
Don't worry, fucking Russell, Sal, me, we all came up in it. Like, listen, our soul's gonna come through regardless. Yeah. And Sal, I remember, man, meeting him at Big Sky. He could barely snowboard. He's working for Transworld at the time. Yeah. And he got fired shortly after.
He did.
Good thing he got fired, because his persona wasn't that.
That's true. He wasn't the receptionist. He was like, he's the man. Yeah.
So dope. They hired a token receptionist, eh? Fucking way to go, Sal. Sal, every girl's pal. You got over that, bro.
Yeah. I'm stoked that you listened, and the second lesson I'll say is that representation is really important. Seeing somebody who you see yourself reflected in on a podcast or in a magazine or on
Sal's
on a
changed,
hill.
right? And like Russell, seeing a black snowboarder in a magazine, are you kidding me?
It was important.
Like, I didn't know. And people thought black people weren't allowed on snow or couldn't afford to get to snow.
Sure. Yeah.
And then Sal,
or didn't want to be on snow. Like, they're rappers, they're basketball players.
Basketball players. I never played. Russell never played.
Right. He was a hockey player.
That's similar. You know? Yeah. I was a swimmer. He was a hockey player. I was a gymnast. Yeah. You know, it's like, I didn't want to be the typical, like the stereotype there. But partly I'll say it's like, but we are also, because we're all humans, that's the key thing, and we're in this body, this meat vehicle, if you will, and mine's a black one, and but I'm just as Canadian as you, and just as human, and our blood's all the same color. So we gotta like, and in snowboarding too, but in other ways, we find like our subculture beyond the color culture, and then there you're just safe within the culture, and we're in tricky times language-wise and stuff. Microaggressions, I feel a lot of things are softening us right now, where listen, skateboarding, you can't soften yourself, man. You got to go out there. When you fall, you fall. You can't ask the concrete to fucking, can you be nicer to me, man? Right. Like, this is reality. Right. And then that helps sharpen you, and that's how you grow as well. And also to be aware of what to be upset about. Right. We're taking the video game level down to easy. Now we're offended because we got shot 5 times. You know, you go up to veteran, like, now you're dead. Like, so out here in the world, I gotta say my energy and whatever I've been doing has definitely outshined any color or wardrobe. I feel my character, and I don't walk around with a chip on my shoulder. And I'll say this: most white people who want to apologize to me, it's like, I've accomplished so much, like, by accident. Like, white people try to apologize to me sometimes, and I'm like, what have you done with your life, man? Like, I'm like, don't apologize to me. I'm not held back. Right. As a matter of fact, I say to some black people to be straight out. This is a good time to be black. After George Floyd, I even said to my kids, black is about to be rebranded, because blacks like me were the Uncle Toms. You know, the Oreos. Right. Seriously. This one girl I met, I guess she sent a picture of me to her sister. It's like, look at this guy I just met. The picture her sister sent back. This is, okay, I'll say this about fucking being black. This disgusts me, man. This shit. The picture that girl sent back was, you know, the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air? Yeah.
Carlton.
Yeah. This girl's like, look at this dude I just met. And that her sister sends that back. Oh, you got the whitest, essentially you got the whitest black guy. Right. And there is something there. I haven't been with a girl in over 7 years, bro. I'm a single hermit right now. And part of it is like the fucking black fetish whatever that I feel from some girls is disgusting.
Yeah.
It's fucking disgusting.
Yeah.
And like that shit, I have no space for.
I've heard Asian women on the other side of it talking about that same shit,
I
saying
got
it's
no
just
space for that.
they fucking hate it. That it's
And I've made love, man, and I've had so much bad fucking sex. I'm like, I don't care. There's not any beauty a girl could fucking have and get even close to me. It's that soul.
Yeah.
And so we call them nigger lovers, if I can say that. And she's a nigger lover, and that is disgusting to me. And that's like part of the there's a lot to the black mythology, but this is a fucking great time. It really is. When I got here in '96, I swear I had no black friends, like nobody for 10. I didn't know a black person, and then I start seeing more black people. I'm like, where they're not coming from Toronto, because Jamaicans stopped in Toronto. And I started meeting them, man. Like now, fucking, I got friends from Nigeria. They're Africans, Nigeria, Kenya. My son Nate, his roommate's from Nigeria, data scientist, by the way. Fucking dumb black people. Albert from Nigeria is something in computers. A guy from Senegal. Now I have so many and they're mostly all Africans, and it's not even a conversation anymore. It's not even a black person. So there's been that change. My feeling right now is black is being rebranded. It's being, and I feel you talking with me is an example of that, because there are black people out there that aren't your hip hop kind of like not in the direction and acting a certain way, but like have other stories. Mm-hmm. So I want to thank you for having the guts to even have this.
Sure.
And I didn't think anything that I did was that special, but I'm a creative person.
Fucking awesome, dude. And I got to witness it.
I got more.
That's my favorite thing, is that I got to, like, I forget about these little stories that I'm like, okay, like Kevin Bakota, oh yeah, but like, well, we're talking about it, and you're reminding me that I got to see you lit up from signing Devin. Like, I got to see how excited you were at the prospect of every little innovation that you made, and now to know the story behind it, that you were like going across the border, going to California, driving all over the place and selling the shit and having the ultimate snowboard experience, right? Like where you catch this thing.
It was a bug, right?
This bug.
You couldn't wait for the next magazine.
Yeah.
How many times were you, bro? I'd cut out every full page. My bedroom was all these full pages. I couldn't, I had to keep a system. So just full page shots was my wallpaper. I don't know where that comes into a person, man, but that snowboarding was, and I'm glad you're talking about it, because I don't know, it's modernized so much, but the Terry Kidwell days.
Well, one of the things that happened was that the innovation reached its peak. You didn't have bindings that were shitty, that the next year they were better. You didn't have a board that was crappy where the next year
did the horseshoe binding.
The horseshoe binding.
And they doubled down. They're like, we're not even do the
we're not even changing. Oh yeah, now you can't get anything else. You had to ride the horseshoe.
It creates a flat spot in my. I can feel, man. Snowboarders were like fucking. I'm hitting that.
Yeah.
Like snowboarders were the first on. Like this. Here's the season for skiing.
Yeah.
Here's the season for snowboarding.
Oh, totally.
The earliest and the latest.
Totally.
And that's another thing, man. The edges, when I gave them an edge sharpener, it's like, it's like, okay. And then, fucking now I need P-Tex repair, because these gouges, like all the.
It's true.
And like didn't care. Didn't care.
In fact, did the opposite of not caring. It was like, I can remember my friend just riding a broken board and not even looking at the lineup and going, my board's broken. And he was drunk. He's like, there's like a huge lineup and people are going, how come that guy gets to go first? He's like, fuck all of you. My board is broken. I'm hammered. And we just went around the line like we were assholes but we were also just not playing by the rules of what
like
was going
to
on.
me, that's like, that like that's the punk side of it.
Yep, sure.
And we matured, matured.
Yeah.
But then the fucking sport kind of got stolen
It definitely got
by
stolen.
the Olympics.
It definitely got stolen.
And FIS and shit.
Yeah,
Like I really felt like, actually I'll say this as I'm older, like now I get it. Now I see how the world works.
Right.
But I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, I mean, I'm a small part, but like we were snowboarders, man. And now you're gonna hold some different contest of people. Like, who's this guy? Who's that guy?
Right.
Like, there was such a disconnect of like who we thought snowboarders were, and then who was competing, and like, wait, you got gold?
Totally. Well, the innovators were the people like yourself who were innovating because it was necessary.
Well, because I rode.
Right.
Okay, the leashes. Look, we had to wear them, but
Yeah.
I needed a tool.
Yeah.
I was losing my shit. Like,
Yeah.
you know, like there goes. I'm like, where'd that nut go? And I'm like, fuck. Now I got to go down to the bottom. And can I get down to the bottom? And guys, wait for me. And this happens up at Whistler, way the fuck up. That you're like, so I made tools, and then I go to Baker, and I get off those chairlifts.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm like, oh, this isn't Talisman. I'm like, actually, that's wrong. Getting off a lift at Baker is like riding Talisman.
Those 5 and 6 had like it's
there's
it's
a couple
still
of them
gnarly.
like that.
It's still gnarly, but I mean, I can remember we would strap in on the lift because
Yes.
you're so fucking scared.
Thought you were genius too, by the way. But you know what sucked? Because I'm goofy. It's if someone was regular. We're all goofy. We can all do it.
Yeah.
So you fucking idiot! You're board crossing back.
Yeah,
Okay, I gotta put my board on you.
It's true.
But
But once that innovation got to a point where, the big corporations could just compete without having to pay the people who were doing it to innovate, that was the end of it. That's the end of it.
My edge sharpener, I see in plastic from RC. My screwdriver, like the lock. I told you, like with the lock, I do polycarbonate. I would do on the cable polyurethane, so it would retract in cold. So I ended up paying that company to do my own outer shell. So I had my own design for it. So at least no one could look like mine, because everyone was copying.
Totally.
There's only a couple locks that you could get, and they're all copying them. They're all getting them from the same place. And I felt like Rory, he had Sport Check, he had Sport Mart, but he
said that today. He said you can't really be successful without having a Canadian Tire or a Sport Check or a...
Well, what do you mean by successful?
Right.
I was fine with like West Beach, Pacific Border, Second Wave.
Because you were riding with us. Because you were riding with us, and your idea of success was like, And
I'm working out of my home, man. I'm making all this shit. I don't have a warehouse. I don't have all this. So I gotta say though, when I found out that RC bought, listen, I let my child go, right? So I'm happy. And then I worked on my brother's child, Pro Flicks, and then I came up with my new child, and I sold that at the end of 2014, and I went backpacking. I've been living like a hermit since 2015.
Very simply. Is there anything like about that? I mean, I showed up here. You obviously know the dude that's parked in front of you.
No, I just met him once.
I know, but you're just like so personable. Like you're such a nice person to him.
But I'm black, man.
It's
aren't people supposed to be afraid of me?
I just mean hermits. Hermits usually don't.
But you know what I mean.
I do know what you're saying.
Listen, my experience. So thank you for noticing that.
Yeah.
Man, I can live at Kate's Park. I move all around North Van, the city, Spanish Banks. I try to be in a deep state of solitude these days, but Calvin is social. And so this guy that you felt something there, right?
100%.
Okay, that's the last time I met him, bang, bang, bang on my window.
Yeah.
His truck is started, and my bike's there. He's like, you better move your bike.
Oh, it was like rude.
That's how it started.
Yeah.
This is what I mean. I'm confused about the black experience for a lot of people.
Right.
He doesn't know. He knocks. Then he sees a black guy. Then whatever he sees next, and then whatever I say next, and then I say mille grazie, because I sold Bakota to an Italian company.
Yeah.
I know how to say thank you. Mille grazie. So I said that to him.
Yeah.
Fucking changed everything.
100%.
And then now he's back like that. And
It was so nice to you. Yeah. Like, I thought you guys were old chums. So
this is my experience as a black man. And I'm glad you saw that, because that's why I can't speak into a lot of other people's experience.
Mm-hmm.
That's why, I feel something about me, my energy, or like how I will relate to people, or I can say thank you. But something I'm in the woods with my dog all the time, man. I don't want to talk to people.
Mm.
If I almost want to film, this is what happens to a black man in the woods.
Mm.
Everyone says good morning to me.
Yeah.
They say it first. So I'm like, man, I can just go on with character, and I'm just going to keep my character going and have these interactions with people.
I'm curious about the hermit thing. I don't know how to ask it in a way that would...
After I sold Calvin, I didn't make a ton of money. I had debts to pay, but I'm not good with money. And so I just traveled, took my kids, and and then I made the Carl Winston tool, blew money on that, and I just ran out of money before I had another idea.
Got you. So,
and then I faced a point where I could get a job in the industry.
Mm-hmm.
I know how to source and negotiate and design and create products, and so I could get a job in snowboarding and mountain biking. I was deep into mountain biking, like hella deep. The North Shore, man. Like, I'd live right on Frome.
Brett Tippy, man.
And
you
Brett,
mentioned him already. Love Brett Tippy.
I was sitting in my house, and I hear alarms go up, and it ends up in this film. It wasn't Brett. Maybe it might have been Brett, but it was a big jump that they made up there, and we're filming it. Like a huge gap over a canyon, and the guy crashed and broke his leg.
Oh, shit.
So, like... Sorry, no, I'm talking to my wife. I'm down at Northwave in Seattle.
Yeah.
She's at home.
Oh,
I hear I hear sirens go by.
Yeah.
I find out later it wasn't, it's one of the, Wade Simmons,
the North Shore guys.
And did it, and then I see it in the video later. And
wow.
so I could have got a job, but I'll tell you this. After Northwave, I saw what happened to my personality.
Yeah.
Inside groups. I was out of money. I could be making six figures. And also I did a solo DMT trip at that time. And that's the first time I was like suicidal. Well, I'll say suicidal in retrospect. I was just ready to retire from a game I reckoned this was. And then I did the DMT, which is, I don't know, man, but when I came out the other side, it said to me, just start over again, man.
Cool.
You did.
Thank you, DMT.
I had this vision of like a canvas. It was 6 feet by 2 feet. It seemed like tall and thin. And it was painted halfway up. Top half was white. The rest of it was like a Jackson Pollock type painting. And something said, something said, here's where you are. This is life you've just lived.
Wow.
And I'm like, wait, I did all that? Like, it came across to me as like, all these colors and shit came across as a journey and a story. I'm like, I did that and that and that. And it said, yeah. And you know what terrified me was, because it was and then white. And it terrified me, that blank space. And all it said was, you weren't worried then. All you got, it's day by day. Like, I'm looking at the future, and the future looks long. The past is like that. And so it was, you're going to start over. There's things you didn't learn. So that's it, man. I had $20 and a plane ticket to Vancouver, and I went to live with my brother, and I started digging holes, building fences. And then he bought me this RV.
Wow.
And I named it Walden after Walden Pond, the book.
Sick.
And that's been over 7 years ago, 7 years and 3 months. And you're catching me at a good time because I feel like this is it. Like I'm done with this stage of my life. But I had to this like really kill every fucking story of life. My kids were growing up, so the story of father and son. I didn't have a father. They don't need a father. Kill that story. Kill all these stories. Inventor, entrepreneur. Nope, 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 nope. And listen to the rain and walk in the woods. And I've just been zeroing out more and more, just getting just more like, what is this like all about? And like, I don't have to do shit. I just have to work enough to make some money. I write constantly. I'm working on ideas.
Yeah.
But under no pressure at all. And then what's crazy, okay, I'm going to Peru in a couple days.
Yeah. Yeah.
What's crazy is I've been like making peanut butter kind of for fun. I have a machine up there cost $700. That's my third or fourth machine. I don't know what I've been doing for 2 years. I have some concept, which that's another thing. But I've been chipping away at this peanut butter thing. I've even made a website, but I haven't even tried to sell any. I don't know what I've been doing. It's called Shack and the Fool. And then a couple months ago, I decided to buy a ticket for Peru because I do landscaping, make my money. I don't want to work through this rain. I'm going to Peru for 2 months. I buy the ticket. Then I find out there's archaeological sites of the earliest peanuts in human history found in northern Peru. You know when you didn't like your carpentry thing? You know how that felt?
Yeah.
Well, when I heard about the peanuts, I'm going there.
Wow.
So I don't even know where it is yet. I'm just going to get to Lima, and then I'm going to figure this out. But I know. But then, I've been buying my peanuts from Chinatown. I'm not happy about that. There's no way I'm going to start a business of peanut butter with Chinese peanuts. There's no way. Like, because money is energy. If I'm going to buy peanuts, then you're going to get this energy, and then where's that going to go? To the freight company, to the this, to the that, to the I was never happy about my source of peanuts, but I still kept going on it. This is strange to me. This might be fucking. Is that God? Is that you? You making me make peanut butter for 2 years, and then get me to buy a ticket to Peru for some reason, bro. Wild jungle peanuts. Never heard of them. Growing in the Amazon. I already had my ticket. Then I find out that there's the Ashuar and the Shuar tribe along the Pastaza River in the Amazon. That's the only place you can get them. Who are the Ashuar and Shuar? Type that in. Dude, the Amazon, they're famous. There's like all the mineral extraction and oil and shit. This is the area where shrunken heads come from. These guys are famous for militantly protecting their lands.
Rad.
Of course, they're a dream culture, plant medicine, ayahuasca. So now I'm not exactly sure. I'm going there for peanuts, but also I know they're like in the news for like protecting their in militant ways. And so business now, I see it's all, I don't need money. I'm not looking for it. It's not things that I'm looking for much. But I've been created to create. So it's taken me 7 years of that type of reckoning. I'm like, all right, this is how I'm made. I'm not made to sit away from people because you see energetically, I have some energy that's good and I can share. So my dream right now is I'm going to find the Ashuar and the Shuar tribes. My dream is to create somewhere I don't quite know, but I will start a business when I get back with peanut butter, and that money. Now I can create a river, and I can know exactly who's getting paid, what families are being helped.
Sick.
So, you know, like
Sick.
This maybe gets back to like the different people in the world and how do we help? Well, I feel business. That's not the wrong word, right word, busyness. Like in a free market, I can create things now, and I can channel money and like create rivers maybe to flow to people. So I'm gonna go for 2 months, and I'm fucking on fire, and I leave on Saturday. So after 7 years and 3 months in my RV, man, I feel like you're meeting the caterpillar when he's coming out of the cocoon. You might be seeing the butterfly. Have you seen Bug's Life?
I have.
Yeah. I'm a beautiful butterfly.
Kevin, this has been one of the most incredible conversations I've ever had.
Shit.
I'm just so ecstatic that I'm following my shit, and as soon as I found you, I was ecstatic. I was looking for you for years.
And I avoided
years,
you.
yeah.
You called, and you don't
That's
know,
right.
but you called Neil Wilson.
Yeah.
The Off the Wall Can-Ams. You to find me because he owns Calvin now.
Yeah.
So well, Neil and Dave. Props to Dave. I'm sorry, Dave, for that. But I heard that you called. I'm not at all into talking about myself at all. So never replied to you. The second time, after that, I thought, oh, he just wants to talk to me because I'm black. But this week I listened to the Russell ones, and I felt that's when I realized I'm black, man. Like, I'm in a black body, and I have a voice, and I'm not eager or feel a need that anyone needs to hear it, but I do feel I'm starting to feel some responsibility around that. Of course, to maintain being me.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
that, yeah, man. And also for blacks on the come up, and for other cultures, like it's mostly white people that aren't even sure like how to interact. You know what? Just like come with like integrity and like good intention, and even maybe like, I'm sorry if I use the wrong word, man. Like maybe help me out there.
Yeah.
But don't get pushed around too much. Also, if you're good and legit, like there are some people that have just grown up with black people. They don't have this problem. Like they throw
right.
Like that's part of it. But at the end of the day, bro, we're all humans, man. But you know what we'll never get around? I'm not preaching hope for peace, man, because I don't think we're gonna get it. Because everyone's breaking off into their groups. So I'm saying, don't confuse racism. Groupism's the same thing. If you point at anybody or any group and go, that's lame, it's the same shit.
That's really smart.
As far as I'm concerned.
That's really smart. And if I'm speaking candidly about it, was there something in there? At some point there was, when I was like, yeah, and he's black, like it's a perfect guest. But somewhere along the way I lost that. Like, I just want to talk to Kevin Bakota because it's a fucking great story and he's a fucking great person.
You know, when you got
That's the
me,
truth.
you asked me about the sale of my company.
And
I'm like, I got exactly what I asked for. And you're like, that is rare. And I'm like, wait, maybe I do have, like, maybe I have done something here.
Oh, shit, you have done so much. So on behalf of the entire snowboard community that listens to this show, and people who don't even, like, fuck, we need a return to that wonderful time where it's like people who are stoked, people who are hooked on this sport, like making innovations and not being afraid to just follow their fucking hearts, dude. That's it, man. That's it.
Yeah, just make enough money to live, and then don't be afraid to follow your fucking heart, because it ain't going to make sense for a while. Man, that's the thing. You got guys like Devin and those guys just, like, drinking, and, like, and they are, it's like, hey, Pops, I thought you said I should get a job at Subway. I just got 30 grand this month. I could buy a Subway.
Yeah, I love that.
So, that's something about that, like, really, really, sometimes it's like, it's crazy. I don't know why I'm obsessed with this shit, but sometimes it's crazy, and then sometimes it pays the bills, but it's through our obsessions. When you're sparked, man, that's the only juice in life. And I bet, like, I haven't thought about suicide anytime I'm sparked.
Oh, never. Right. I have a theory on suicide that everyone that goes through with it's always after a sleepless cycle. Yeah. Right? Like you don't wake up in the morning and go, okay, that's it. Great sleep.
And Albert Camus, right? Albert Camus, he's like, the only serious question in life, he's had a couple things. One is whether to live or die, but the other thing is, if you're going to consider suicide, it should be in the vein of, do I feel like a cup of coffee or not?
Sure,
right.
Right.
But if it's coming from way down there, so in my times, I'm like, okay, I've learned, because I've been there 3 times now, I've learned, okay, let me wait until, maybe I'll still do it.
Right.
But let me wait.
It's an option.
It's an option.
But let's make that decision from like a sensible
After
spot.
I've had some sleep.
Yeah,
And,
sensible spot.
And hug my kids.
Right. Yeah, that was the last time for me that I was seriously thinking about it. It was the kids that brought me out of it.
It's no, 100%. I'm sorry. It's not hugging the kids.
Yeah.
It's when your kids hug you.
Yeah.
Let's end on that.
Thank you, Kevin.
Thanks,
Fuck,
Blair.
that was incredible. FNRad shoutouts this week to Kevin Leroy's. Thanks for doing the show, man. Thanks for all the cool inventions over the years through Bukoda. Thank you to Baldface Lodge. I'm still glowing from that trip. And a big thank you to Mother Nature for finally bringing us some snow on the West Coast. Hey, if you want a chance to win a 1910 hoodie, tag 2 friends and 1910 in any FNRad post. Tag New Greens in any FNRad post, and we will send you a sample pack of the best organic green drink on the planet. Be sure to come back next week for more FNRad snowboarding presented by Skyview Campers and brought to you by FNRad Productions.